I'm trying to. I'm trying. By the way, 3, 2, 1, wrong.
Oh.
I'm trying to get my knowledge base wide. I've said it on a couple of episodes. I admire Joe Rogan. I really do.
Oh yeah.
I don't admire him because of his, he doesn't have any more treats. Come here, Kenji. I know you like you. Come here, Kenj.
Number 3 on the podcast.
Come on, man. Hey,
It's all right, buddy.
Kenji.
I'm friendly.
Kenji. Get over here. Get over here with your fat head.
I don't
Get
know.
over here.
I guess that means he likes me.
Yeah, he likes you. No, you know. Trust me. He'd get really rigid and he'd be really not friendly looking.
Of course.
Yeah. I don't admire him because of like the amount of money that he makes. Because I mean, listen, that's an admirable take. Everybody feels like that's the end all be all, and I've been guilty of it for a long time as well. So we could talk about that because that was kind of like the last question as well. But I admire him because he knows so much about so many different topics.
Yes.
And it's really crazy when you start to talk to him about something where you go, oh wow, this guy's about to really give him some breakdown and knowledge and this and that. And Joe's just like, oh yeah, I read this book and I knew this and that. And you go, oh wow, like he just knew it already. That's pretty cool.
And not even just that, like controversy too. Like, he looked up so much stuff, and it's for anyone's take, no matter where you are. But like Apple podcast, they took him down because of the whole thing with like the COVID vaccines and this and that, and the whole 9. He signed this, multi-million, I don't even know, maybe it was $1 billion deal with Spotify, but then a bunch.
Yeah.
So there you go, but like Apple took him down, a couple other people took him down because they didn't like what he had to say. So, it's like he's a great dude. I mean, he's rich, but like he's also leading in controversy because people try to say what he can and can't say.
He just seems like the kind of guy that I strive to be, which is just a regular ass dude, and just to have good conversations with good people and hang out and shoot my videos and chill with my dog, do jiu-jitsu. And, I just want to have a good time. We're not on this earth for a long time. And the older that I'm getting, the more I'm figuring it out that the simplicity of things is actually the better version of things. And with more money does come more problems. It's weird how that kind of works.
Yeah, well,
you think like, oh yeah, this guy's got billions and he's got no headaches in the world. And you start to understand when you look from different perspectives and you go, oh, maybe it's not like that. It actually might not be that way.
Well, he started in the UFC as like, as a commentator and announcer and stuff like that. But then he just kind of developed himself as he went on. You ever watch his training videos? That dude kicks like a truck. He's like 50 something and he kicks harder than 20 and 30-year-olds,
Dude, so
he is massive.
So because I'm always with Sarah.
Yeah.
I'm always with Sarah at school. I was with him this morning and he was saying, oh, I'm going back on Joe's podcast in a couple of weeks and this and that.
How's the training going?
It's good, man.
Yeah.
It's good. It feels good. I'm still 3-stripe white belt.
Yep.
It's been a journey, man. The ankle injury was tough.
Yeah.
That was really tough for me.
You're talking to the king of injuries.
The injury was tough because it took me out of the gym in general. It didn't just take me out of the gym for jiu-jitsu. So, little nagging things like the jiu-jitsu fingers and the joint swelling and whatnot.
Here comes the cauliflower ear.
My ears, dude, I was looking today and I'm losing that when you look at an ear, you have all of the different pieces that you can see and it's thin here and then you have a line here.
Yep.
I'm losing that and it's all becoming like one shape on the inside of my ear. Very subtle. I'm no way saying that it's like,
of course. Yeah, no.
But it's becoming that like very smoothed out, and I keep touching my ears because it's different.
Of course,
your ears. They've been with me since day one.
Yeah,
you start feeling.
Wake up, you look at yourself, you stare in the mirror, and you're like, like when I was heavy into it, when I was younger. I mean, my ears, I guess, were still developing. I was 17, 18, whatever it was. But like, I know sometimes some people at that age, Gordon Ryan, he started cauliflowering when he was young too. I mean, he still is young. He's like 24, 25, whatever he is. But like when I was training, when I started Sarah's at 16, 17 in East Meadow when they had that joint on Hempstead Turnpike, like I was rolling with all those guys and I pretty much knew like if I would look at their ear, and especially in public now, like when I'm walking around and stuff like that, it's like, I just look around and I'll see someone with cauliflower ear and I'm like, man, I feel bad for the guy that messes with you, and like that.
Handshake somebody, you're like, let me see those ears.
Yeah. Let me look at those ears real quick.
I'm not sizing up your arms, I'm sizing up your ears.
Yeah, exactly, but that, that's one of that kind of goes in one of the topics that I wanted to talk about is just kind of like being ready for real life. I feel like a lot of people, and it's not taken away from anything in strength training and conditioning, but like, a lot of people, they just go to the gym and then they just call it at that. Yeah. And it's like, and weight training and conditioning is all that's important, but like there's a lot that happens in the world. There are constantly people who are trying to attack others. There's a stabbing here, there's a shooting here. These 2 people got jumped, like I've always kind of lived life by a mentality. I wouldn't say always, but like the military helped shape me kind of into this mentality of being ready for anything. And I'm not saying it's just like, oh, well, the world's out to get me and I'm going to hurt everyone. It's just like, it's all about just like being aware of your surroundings and knowing what's going on around you. And, like a lot of people don't understand, or maybe they do understand and they're just neglectful of it, is like a lot of street fights end up on the ground. And I grew up doing karate, and karate helped my basis of a kid of learning self-defense, learning importance of knowing how to defend yourself. But like, as I got older, I found the UFC and I was like, wow, like this is crazy. I'm not saying I want to go be a cage fighter, but like, and now at the time, like World Star was a thing and the bare knuckle fights. But then there was like a lot of like
Kimbo Slice.
Kimbo, but I was also watching like Vale Tudo in Brazil and all that stuff like that a lot of people don't really know about. And I'm like, maybe I should be ready, to learn how to fight on the ground. And that same karate school, I'm definitely going to give them props, the American Black Belt Academy in Massapequa. They helped my foundation of martial arts, and they do have an MMA program now, and it's great. They have an octagon, full setup and everything and whatnot, but at the time they didn't. But at like 16, 17, I was like, you know what? Like, I want to get on the ground. I want to learn how to do this stuff. And that's when I joined Sarah's. And, and that one day I walked into OG and I had the Sarah hoodie on, and you were like, this guy, the OG Sarah hoodie. So, all those guys. And it's great to see, like, I have a couple of them on Facebook. Chris Frieda, prime example, guy, I was a white belt with him. He's a black belt now, I talk to him every now and then. I say, what's up? He's a good guy. Polar Bear, those guys, Patton's Army in the morning, I used to roll with those guys a little bit. They probably don't remember me, but I remember them.
My joints remember them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All the bicep cutters and all that stuff. So
we were doing knee bars this morning, and that is
you get into reaping and stuff like that. Yeah,
that stuff just creeps me out. It doesn't even matter if it's just a regular level, competition level.
Yeah,
anything knee stuff. I just cringe and I go, oh, please go slow. Don't do this fast.
But like the thing is, and it's not even it's not like a competition mindset, but again, it goes back to what I said before about being ready for anything. Like if you get into a fight on the street and you end up on your back, the best offense you can have from being on your back is knowing how to take control of the other guy's legs. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like Mikey Musemi, 120 pounds, this guy spins like a top, like he, you could be the smallest guy ever or just not really know how to fight in general. But like, if you're on your back and you know how to spin and take out the other guy's legs or position yourself to where you can get around them, it prevents yourself from ground and pound and stuff like that. Just laying on your back and going like this isn't really going to do anything. You got to be able to move, So, and I feel like that's the importance of jiu-jitsu, the importance of even just karate or like Muay Thai, like a lot of people, when you just see street fights on the street, it's people just swinging for each other's faces. You kick someone's leg 2 or 3 times, they're going to go down like a tree, and it's like, if I pray I never get into it, in a fight because, it's
funny. We learn, and I feel like that's the majority. I don't mean to cut you off. But
in martial arts,
the majority of us is you learn all this stuff with the hope to never actually have to use it.
Martial arts makes you the most passive person ever.
Yeah,
it really does.
So I did Kung Fu when I was younger, like really young. I did Kung Fu when I was a brown belt. I was supposed to test for my black belt. Dude, I don't fucking remember any of that shit. I mean, maybe it's ingrained somewhere in there. God forbid it ever has to come out, and you at least remember how to throw a kick and a punch. Okay, great. But then I started doing boxing with my boy Jamal, who's on the podcast a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Any of the episodes with Jay is Into the Bat Cave. He is the strength and conditioning coach. Used to be for Weidman.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he's also the strength and conditioning coach and striking coach for a lot of different things with Big Baby Miller, the boxer, and all that stuff. So because we became friends, I started doing a lot of boxing with him in and out. And it's great because you learn how to throw punches. You learn how to, bob and weave and stay moving and, read your opponent and whatnot. But then when I just decided I want to take it to another level, I always wanted to wrestle. I just never wrestled.
Yep.
I always wanted to wrestle, and I always wanted to do jiu-jitsu. I just was a little bitch about it. I remember paying for the fight to watch Sarah fight GSP. I remember paying for the fight. I went to Wings Over Farmingdale back in the day. Yo, dude.
Wings Over. I was going to Hooters when I was a kid watching those fights.
I
got my driver's license at 18, and me and my boys, we would go to Hooters and watch the fights.
I should have just done that because it would have saved me the $80.
Oh, it was great.
Because it was like 80 on food, 80 on the fight.
Nah.
I don't even remember how much. I think it was $70-$80 back then too.
Something like that. Yeah.
The PPV, pay-per-view. So anyway, I set everything up. My mom, we showed me how to get it. pay for the fight. Bro, I fell asleep before the fight even happened.
That's your
I
fault.
woke up and it was over. I didn't realize that, back then I didn't realize the fight started at 1. Like the main.
It's so bad now, especially now that we're older. Like I'll be laying there in bed, and they have all these big fights going on. The other week, was
299.
Yeah, it was 299. You had Cheeto Vera, Sean O'Malley, and luckily right now, I'm working nights, but I know for a fact that like if I was working days, I go to sleep not 9:30. Like I'm out early. I wake up for the gym early. And I'm laying there and I'm like, you think to yourself, like, what's going through I guess Dana has to accumulate to the rest of the world. So luckily the West Coast, they get to watch this from 7 to 10.
That's all.
We have to watch it from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Yeah, no.
I'm laying there. I'm
7 to
knocking
10,
out. Yeah.
Dude, that's the prime time. Dude, the fight should start 6 o'clock.
Oh.
And we should be going into main cards by like 9.
Yeah.
That should be the
It should end at 10 latest.
It should end at fucking 11.
Yeah, I'll get 11. I would even do 11 latest. Yeah, I'll give him 11.
I'll give him 11.
I'm waiting for the main event at 1:30 in the morning,
man.
especially the decision fights that, they're 5-rounders, and then you have like the co-main event 5-rounders.
Yeah, and then you got the ads. It's like,
yep.
all right, I get y'all need to pay your bills, but like, let's get it going.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was watching all those. I remember watching all that, and I went to a trial class at Sarah's spot here.
Yep.
Back in the day, I don't know who I did it with. I forget what. It might have been his brother, honestly, Nick. I think he has a
Nick.
brother,
Yeah, Nick. Yeah.
It might have been his brother. I don't really remember, but they brought me in. I taught me a couple of things, and I think I got scared from the price of the gym every month and from injuries. My mom got worried with the injuries and shit like that. So it just never happened. Mm-hmm. So I said, you know what, fuck it. And then now I'm just like, you know what, making a little coin. I'm into doing different shit. I'm not doing bodybuilding stuff anymore.
Yep.
Let's dive in. And that's kind of what happened, man. I dove in and I've been loving it, dude.
Yeah.
It's just a different world. I've been so much calmer. It's so weird.
It humbles you. Like I said, martial artists are truly the most like passive people. Cause like I would, when I did Sarah's, and then I left Sarah's because at the time it was pricey for me. I wasn't making too much. I ended up going to the UFC gym in Farmingdale, and I continued there because I was doing the MMA.
Was it a dual membership?
Sort of, yeah, exactly. And it was great because like I was paying an X amount to hit the weights and and work out, but on top of that, like they had Muay Thai classes, they had jiu-jitsu classes. And, there is where I kind of developed more into no-gi. Like I started no-gi when I was at Sarah's, but when I went there, like I didn't have a gi and I didn't want to buy another one. Like I was like, you know what, I want to develop my no-gi a little bit more. I was debating on getting a gi because everything you do in jiu-jitsu, and this as well, is it applies to real life. Gi is like if someone's wearing a jacket, you have grips around the collar chokes, you have all this other stuff. No-gi is, you and me going at it in a t-shirt and shorts. How do I get the advantage over you in just normal clothes? Gi, you have literally grips everywhere, but that's what gets the jiu-jitsu fingers, and you're going for collar chokes, and you're going for wraparounds and this and that and the whole nine. And because there's so many, grab pant legs, you're grabbing this, you're grabbing that. So I kind of developed a lot of my no-gi when I went to the UFC gym, and then it closed down. But then when it closed down, I was looking for...
Which one?
This was Farmingdale. Yeah, it was Farmingdale.
Farmingdale one closed down?
It closed down.
Behind the vitamin store that closed down?
Yeah. Right on Route 110. So they closed down. And then I ended up, it worked for me, I guess, because at the time I was looking for another place, but then I graduated Nassau Community College, and then I joined the military. And then when I got to my first duty station in South Korea, I ended up meeting up with a guy who's huge on MMA. Him and I started hitting pads, and then like him and I started rolling, and him and I started to like actually like teach like guys out there like just basic jiu-jitsu. Like, I mean, I was a 4-striper. I'm not gonna say I was an expert by any means, but like I knew
more so than the common man.
Well, exactly, yeah. And that's how like I kind of like I thought it, and like I was able to get a lot of volunteer hours out of it. My evaluation looked good for the year, and like it helped build camaraderie because guys were like, all right, what's this? Well, I'm teaching like an arm bar from basic guard, how to go from half, if you're in half guard, how to get back to full guard, bridge and roll, what's an alternative to bridge and roll. It was just more of whatever I knew, and then like I would also learn as well by just going on YouTube, because like at the time there was a jiu-jitsu school out there, but there was a big language barrier, and me and my buddy Chris, who was a big jiu-jitsu guy as well, we ended up competing out there just for the hell of it,
Yeah.
And it was so funny story is we got to our first competition, and this guy kept telling us it was no-gi, and we kept asking him over and over, it's like, it's no-gi. I was like, yeah, whatever, it's fine, because what we did out there was no-gi. So we show up with our stuff, and it's this big, stadium in South Korea.
So cool.
And it was we walk in, we're like, wow, this is gonna be awesome. I was like, I don't even care if I lose today. Like this is the
ADCC finals.
Yeah. So I look around, and then the guy's like, oh, and then he asks us, he puts in his Google Translate, and he says uniform, and I'm like, uniform? Like, what are you talking about? Turns out it was a gi competition. And we look at each other, and we're like, yeah, we don't have a gi. And then they're like, oh, hold on one second. They come back. They got us 2 gis from two sweaty guys who just competed.
They're like, hey, man.
Yeah, they dried it off, and they're like, "You guys?" And I looked at him. I'm like, "Listen, this is gonna be a hell of a story in the future.
Once in a lifetime."
Yeah, and it was, we both lost first round. I got submitted in like 2 minutes, and he lost by points. He lost
tough dudes.
Oh, tough dudes.
And this is at the white belt level too.
This was white belt level, exactly. Yeah. Like I was wearing, I was a white with 4 stripes. but the belt I was wearing was white. It was white belt, no matter how many stripes, whatever it was. I got submitted in like 2 minutes. He lost by points, and it was a lot of fun. But and then the second one, same thing. Like we went for whatever it was, and then they told us it was gi again. And we went to the guy at the school. We're like, you got to tell us, we got to figure this out, man. So, but
I know it's a couple of years later, but this could have helped.
Exactly.
This shit, you could talk, and it does the translating. It's so sick.
Yeah. Oh, well,
I can't wait to travel internationally to try it. I can't wait.
I think I was using Google Translate at the time, but like when we'd show up for class. And he would go over the moves, and then we'd roll with the guys. Like there wasn't really that much to talk about, like doing that. But it was just like when it came to the competitions, and I'm like this and that and the whole nine. But it was a lot of fun, And I do think that MMA is a good basis, or just any type of martial art, that kind of just gets you ready for being
your life.
Yeah,
for to go back to the point.
It goes back to the point. Bradley Martin, huge guy, obviously, big bodybuilder. He's
so tired of seeing the clips of him like, oh, how much you weigh, bro?
So he's this huge dude that actually, and I don't know if you saw, but like I don't know if he called out Nate Diaz or Nate Diaz. I mean, Nate Diaz is a clown anyway, but like,
well, I know he was. Well, he wasn't one of them was on his podcast.
Yeah,
and he's like, oh yeah, I would tool you.
Yeah, I would smack your arm. Let me tell you something. I was like, Nate Diaz, he may be 180 pounds soaking wet, and he has absolutely no muscle on him. I was like, this man will ruin you. Like, yeah, will Bradley Martin maybe get a clean shot at it and stone him cold, and that's it. The second you fall to your knee, that man is going to twist you like a pretzel and do things.
There's only so much strength will get you.
Yeah.
There's only so many places that it will, and I've learned that as well in what I'm doing. And I've pulled off the gas on a lot of the strength stuff that I do because, listen, there's a lot of kids that I could just toss in that class.
Yeah.
I could fucking toss people, and I don't because I use my strength when I have to and when I need to. And I've had a couple of guys from Bev's come and join Sarah's, and they're learning and they're going, oh shit, like, yeah, it's different than what we thought. And then they go, yo, man, this is a different challenge. This is what I wanted.
And one of the worst things you can do as a smaller guy, and I learned this at 16, 17 when I first joined Sarah's, was the last thing you want to be is on the offensive against the guy who's bigger than you and he's on top of you. Like when they would get on top of me, I would just try to let them gas out, and I would just fight defensively and just prevent advancements, prevent submissions, and then just wait until
not let you breathe.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Most of the time they would get me because I was not only was I small, but I was also a starter. I wasn't like Mikey Musemi, 120 years old, spinning like a top. I was a little 16-year-old white belt, and I had these 25, 30, 35-year-old guys that are just twice my size. At the time, I was only, I was like 130 myself. I had no muscle back then, so it was just like one of those things. But I think, MMA and martial arts is very comparative to being ready for the real world. And
I believe functional type fitness and movements are imperative.
It's a combination of the two. Like I'm not going to sit here and say, okay, just do MMA, but don't do weight training.
I think that MMA can be considered functional fitness.
It can be.
That's what I'm saying.
It can be.
I believe when I say functional fitness, I mean martial art type of modalities, and I mean weight training type stuff. It doesn't have to be CrossFit specifically. It doesn't have to be bodybuilding type specifically. But I think when you bridge the gap together,
of course,
start getting like really into life training.
Of course, yeah, exactly. And that's like. You have guys that are in ridiculous shape that don't even look it. And the guy I just talked about before, Nate Diaz, that guy, he's flat as a pancake. He can run 20 miles and not even sweat. Yeah. And he's puffing on like 6-7 blunts a day, and he's outworking literally everyone in the room. But that's how he is. All the post fights, he's token, and he's like, oh, I'll do this. He is so. He's all messed up, whatever he is, but he's a tank. He's an absolute monster. He loses a lot, but like he has an endless gas tank too. The fights with Connor, his first round is where he starts up, and then he just keeps working and working and working.
That's like Marab. Marab has unlimited tank. That's gonna be a good fight, man. Him and O'Malley.
O'Malley's trying to be the shot caller now. So like Marab, he's like, oh, if you want me to knock out Marab, I'll knock him out too. But like, there's so I don't know, man.
Oh, dude,
I mean, he pieced up up Cheeto though. He pieced up Cheeto.
I heard about Marab a long time ago, like from
Yeah.
a year ago.
You ever train with him? You ever roll with him?
No, I haven't. I've rolled with Steamroller.
Okay. Steamroller.
I love Matt. Matt's the homie. I've trained while Sterling Aljamain. Aljo is at the gym. I've trained like next to him. I haven't trained with him particularly.
Yeah.
But he was very nice, super cool. I haven't met Marab yet, but
Yeah.
I hear about him through the networks.
Yeah.
And you heard a lot of things about like they didn't want them to go against each other because they're teammates and this and that. So
Controversy.
listen, whatever it
Yeah.
might be, whether that's the case or not, I have no idea. But all I know
Aljo went up to 145 now.
exactly.
So,
That's that.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, dude, this guy's got I've heard chin like a fucking cement truck.
He's
got a gas for days. And who was the dude he just fought?
I would say, did you watch his fight with Cejudo?
That was it, Cejudo.
Now, granted, Cejudo's a little older, but
dude, Olympic style wrestler.
Olympic wrestler, and he would just walk with him and smile at Dana and then slam him.
Took him right on his shoulder.
Insane.
Yeah, he's fucking ridiculous.
These European guys are nuts.
Built the Dagestani, right?
Yep.
Dude's built different, man. That's a different type of a person. That's a person that's like a Batman villain. Like he's a really good guy. Not to say he's a villain.
Yeah.
But that's the dude that like worked out in a fucking cave all his life and just that was the only thing he knew was just getting in and fighting and grappling and doing everything. And then when given the opportunity on the big stage, all of his years of training that everyone never saw, now it's front and center and he just piecing dudes up.
Oh yeah. But
Crazy.
So it's like it's awesome to see guys doing that and taking care of yourself that way, but and doing MMA and jiu-jitsu and being ready for real life leads into the next topic that is it goes into it's like, okay, now you know how to fight on the ground. Now you know how to fight on your feet. Do you know how to fight with a weapon? Like now you get into, do you, I get, and listen, it's, the Second Amendment is one of the most controversial things you could talk to anyone about in the history of mankind. I'm not saying you got to walk around with a pistol everywhere and this and that, the whole night, but do you know how to try to defend yourself against a knife attack? Do you carry a knife on you? Anyone could carry a pocket knife on them, and you'd rather have something on you than nothing. I carry a knife with me pretty much everywhere I go except the gym.
Yeah, I usually have one on me. I don't have one on me right now.
I got one on me right now,
cool.
so, but I work in the city.
I usually have one on me right now. And that's actually why I've been wearing more and more jeans.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting used to having the belt on and carrying, because then when I get concealed, I want to be able to have it on me for different purposes if I deem it so. But I would say that there's a mixed bag in this topic. There's a mixed bag because there are people that either have been introduced to firearms at a young age and they're very comfortable with them, or even at a later age like me that are very comfortable with them because you have friends that teach you the right way to do things and the responsible way to hold guns, and every gun is loaded no matter what, just even if it's empty, it's loaded. Like we're not pointing it at people, we're not pointing it at ourselves, we're keeping good trigger finger off of everything. These are the things that, you learn as a responsible gun owner. But I would say on the opposite end of the spectrum, I believe that there's a lot of people that are afraid of firearms, afraid of knives, of real not cutlery. But the same thing basically, just less sharp. And
because of what happens in the world, you read about stabbings, you read about shootings, and you're like, oh, I'm afraid of this. But then it's like,
and the fear stems from the unknown of not actually understanding this thing. I had said this on another episode. I have a buddy. His girl is a teacher. She's very, very left leaning. Listen, don't matter. Wherever you lean.
I'm not here to talk about left, right, up, or down.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
If you've listened to any of my episodes, I don't give a fuck what anybody is.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
So she just leans very left. And because of that, her preconceived notion is absolutely no guns, absolutely no weapons, absolutely no that. And it's just like, and I've talked to her before and I said, listen, you have to just open your mind a little bit. It's not that you are wrong. It's that you're afraid of something because you're constantly told by the places that you look for news, the people that you converse with, that these are demonized things. And the gun's not just going to get up and go shoot somebody. It actually has to have like a catalyst of somebody using it. Like that's the whole way that the gun functions. Is it, the guns that are in my house, the guns that are in your house, the guns that are in how many people's houses across the country?
The millions and millions and millions of gun owners.
It's weird. They don't get up and they don't just kill people in the middle of the night.
But all it takes is one bad apple to spoil the bunch.
Exactly.
Next week they're unfortunate. You know what? And there probably will be a shoot. I mean, listen, I read about shootings in the city and all these other places every single day.
Yeah.
Not many people know about it because they don't know where to look. But it's like at the end of the day, it's it's not like a spoon. You can't blame a spoon for making you fat, right? So it's like
some people can.
But it's one of those things where it's like at the end of the day, firearms will always be controversial to the public because of what offensive people do with it and what defensive people do with it. I've been a firearm owner since 2018, and I go to like my friends that are scared of guns. I'm like, you tell me the last time I went and shot someone? Yeah, exactly. You know, like I keep my guns locked up. I train with them for a purpose. But like I also, like you, I started as a kid. You know, I was a kid with Nerf guns. And then from Nerf guns, I upgraded to BB guns. And then from BB guns, I started shooting small 22 with my great uncle who lives in Delaware. Joined the military, went into an MOS that, you know, as being an MP, you know, we got introduced to the Beretta M9. I was shooting the Mossberg 500. You know, I got training on an M4, AR-15, you know, probably one of the most controversial pieces of weaponry in United States history, you know, and then when I deployed, you know, and then when I deployed, I got hands on machine guns, grenade launchers, you know, I was shooting all that stuff and having a ton of fun, you know, but like, so I got, and then I came home, bought more stuff, and now, you know, and you know, because I've texted, you know, I go to the range, you know, I try to go to the range once or twice a month, you know, I try to do some indoor training with pistol, and then I do some outdoor training with my rifle. And it's just one of those things where it's like, I'm never going to say someone needs to get a concealed carry permit and needs to do this and needs to do that. But I just want, it's more of a thing of like, people need to just keep their minds open about like everything that goes on around them. And it goes into, you know, it's like one of those things, like you said, like, you know, you have a friend who's a teacher, or, you know, and they're leaning to the left and they're afraid this and that, so on and so forth. Your politics and your views are a reflection of your reality. Right. So, what I say by that is generally speaking here, like education is left leaning. First responders and military are usually right leaning, you know, like everyone, you know, politics are just a mess as it is. But like if you
gotta get rid of it first off, we gotta get rid of a two-party system.
That's another thing. Yeah, you know, like
nothing but pit everybody against each other. It's bullshit.
It is.
I'm tired of having these geriatric fucks in the office. That's what I'm tired of.
What annoys me more than anything is, and it's with the controversy of the Second Amendment, is like when I go on Instagram and Facebook, it's left-leaning people complaining about this, right-leaning people complaining about this, and upside-down people complaining about this, and all they do is complain about politics and what's in their lives.
And they feed the algorithm too.
Yeah, exactly. And now you just got people talking about it, and now you just got them paid, you know? And politicians always need to promise you something in order to get elected into office. You know, they'll keep saying, "Oh, I'm gonna create this. Oh, I'm gonna ban this. I'm gonna create this. I'm gonna ban this." And most of the time, it never happens.
No, never.
You know?
It never happens
because they have to promise you stuff.
They don't give a fuck. They don't care about you. They don't care about you. They don't care about your rights. They don't.
Nope.
They act like they do. They are some of the best actors in the world for a lot of people that believe that shit. They're better than some of the actors in Hollywood with how they act with certain things. And you know, just like you said, it's all about having a hold of power over the people. That's really what it winds up being.
Yeah.
To just go back to my buddy's girl.
Yeah.
My biggest thing with her was you have to look at things with an open mind. So it's not a matter of you need to, like you said, you don't have to go get a concealed carry. You don't have to do all of that. But at least having a basic understanding of a firearm. You're in schools. They're gun-free zones. Unfortunately,
does it work?
Unfortunately, you know, when you tell criminals that, or people that are trying to do harm to others, hey, you're not allowed to use a gun in this area. Or some of the signs that I laugh at when I drive past schools are, this is a drug-free school. Really? Okay. Let have all the students come out, especially in the high schools, obviously. Have all the students come out and let's clear out all the backpacks. Let me see what we got here, because I'm going to prove to you that sign doesn't work.
New York City, every corner you go, you see this is a gun-free zone. You want me to pull up statistics of every shooting that's happened in New York City? Like,
dude,
what do you think? Do you think a sign is going to stop, people?
And we have to stop leaning with our feelings. And we have to lead more with like logic and statistics, real statistics.
Yeah.
Not bullshit that just adheres to the agenda that you're trying to have be the main point of view.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you start seeing that, oh, this is a gun-free zone. Okay, why do all the shootings seem to happen in gun-free zones? I don't know. It seems like that's a strange thing.
Because you just told responsible people they can't bring a gun, and the irresponsible people don't care about that sign.
I've had
this conversation. I've
had this conversation with friends too, and I've said, why is it that they don't have as many mass shootings in Texas and Florida? I don't know, because if a dude pulls up and he's looking to do a mass shooting, quote unquote, he's looking to harm as many humans as possible in a short amount of time. If you pull up to a place in Florida and you start counting, oh, there's 50 people here, there's a good chance that 20 to 30 are strapped.
Yep.
I'm probably not going to get the odds that I want in my favor, and they're going to go somewhere else.
Places like Chicago have the most shootings they have the most offensive shootings without any defensive shootings, taking police officers out of the question because, obviously that's their job to respond and to take down the threat. If you look at offensive shootings and defensive shootings, one was there are articles and there's many people, who they call good Samaritans that will take down bad guys and, when they can. I'm not sure where.
That's a fucking risk, man. And that's a risk because you're going to be persecuted for that.
One of the craziest things I saw.
Persecuted, prosecuted, both.
Yeah, both. Yeah,
both.
Yeah, one of the craziest things. I forgot what state it was. It was somewhere in the Midwest, and some guy came into a mall with a rifle. And I have a carry permit through the Navy. I carry in highly populated places. I carry when I go to the grocery store. I carry when I go to the mall. I carry when I go to the movies, but I don't carry going to the gym. I don't, anything like that. I only carry.
That's tough though.
Yeah.
Because then you got to take it off and then you got to leave it somewhere.
Exactly.
My mind would always be on where's the gun? Where's my gun?
Exactly. Like my gun's either in my safe or on me. And it's neither one of the two. So
people lock shit up in cars. I'm like, oh, please don't leave.
I would never.
Please don't leave your gun in the car. Please don't do that.
Because you could if someone breaks into your car and take it, like if I left my gun in my car and someone broke it and took it, I would be done for.
Oh yeah,
I would be absolutely done for.
Sorry. Anyway, back to you.
No, that's okay. So this guy came into a mall. There's an article on it somewhere, but he came into a mall with a rifle and some like 19-year-old kid with a stock Glock 43 or 45.
I heard about this too.
With a stock Glock 45. This guy came out with a rifle. I think he shot one or two people, injured them. They didn't kill
them. You know
him.
the kids? Do you know the name?
No. It's somewhere on Google. If you search, oh God, somewhere in the Midwest, Idaho, Ohio. I'm gonna rush to find it like you. Mall shooting stopped.
Rush. I'm racing you, bro.
Oh yeah, Elijah Dickin, 22. This was Indiana.
Yeah, I got it.
Indiana. Yep. Yeah, 22.
Gestured to other shoppers to flee as he engaged and closed in on the suspect.
Yep.
Gangster.
Gunman had 2 rifles, a handgun, and more than 100 rounds of bullets.
That's weird though. Aren't malls gun-free zones?
I'm pretty sure they are. But so he heard gunfire, and he took his gun out. He put this guy down at 20 yards with one shot.
Yeah, man.
One shot.
But that's all it takes, and you know that
exactly. But you know how many people probably don't even know about that story because they don't want to listen to it.
They don't want. Not even that they don't want to listen to it. They don't want to project that out there that somebody did something good with a gun.
Because in a certain world there's no such thing as good guys with guns.
So scary. Like,
yeah.
It's so scary. That's why I have to sit here and wait 2 years for a CCW for a handgun.
That's New York and politics.
While I go buy a shotgun in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I have no record.
Yep.
And rifles and whatever else I want.
Mm-hmm.
I go buy it in 10 minutes.
Yep.
Because they're like, oh yeah, he's clean. Well, why is it? Oh, because the little scary concealable one, but I could do 10 times more damage with the rifle or a shotgun.
Yep.
So,
and that's why most of these mass shooters and offensive shooters, they come with rifles. They don't.
Yeah, they don't practice with these guns.
Exactly.
Right. They miss all the time.
Exactly.
People.
Yeah, they're just going around.
Regular people don't understand how hard it is to actually shoot and hit on target.
Yep.
Repeatedly.
Yes.
Repeatedly and accurately, and just while there's things going on. They have no idea how hard it is to just go bump, 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 bump. Just even in that succession.
Yep.
Not even quick. Just bump, bump, bump. Fucking miss all the time.
That's why, and especially when I do not even my rifle training is just about really getting on target because it's not like I'm walking around and I'm never going to walk around in public with a rifle. But when I do my pistol training, I do some friendly competitions too. Me and my friend Chris, we were doing some USPCA competitions in Freeport, which was a lot of fun.
Can you let me know when you do another one? Because I really want to do it when I get my license.
So they stopped for a little bit. Some guy stepped down. I'm trying to find more, but I haven't done it in a while. But I was doing one once a month and it was great. You go do a course of fire, this, that. I bought a belt and all, and it was, trying to get on target. And listen, there are guys there with staccatos that shoot a grouping like this at 30 yards. But I always told myself, I'm like, if I have to shoot a pistol at 30 yards, I got a real big fucking problem. Don't get me wrong. It's always good to train distance, but how I try to train, and there's a guy on YouTube and Instagram, and I'm going to send him your link because I follow a lot of his stuff when I'm watching his stuff and I'm not doing anything. I think his name is Colin. He runs T-Rex Arms. I don't know if you ever heard of T-Rex Arms. So
is he a black kid?
No, he's white guy.
Oh, you know what I'm talking about. Colin.
Yes, Colin Noir. Colin. Yeah. No, he does a lot of podcasts and talks about the Second Amendment and guns. This guy does just a lot of training videos.
That's cool.
And stuff like that. And he walks through like, how to effectively shoot a pistol, how to do this. He's not military. He's not a cop. He's just a normal dude that loves guns. And this guy can outshoot and outclass, any guy that, that's on the job or whatever the case may be. But he has really good training videos, and I get a lot of my training from him because he'll be like, all right, do this course of fire. And it's like, draw, put 2 rounds on, reload, whatever. Like my like I'll work my concealed draws, 2
in the chamber, like 1 in the chamber.
Well, if I'm carrying here, it's like lifting the shirt up, coming up, this and that. How long it takes me to lift my shirt up, get the gun out, get my gun forward. Like every now.
Have you ever used the mantis?
Well, mantis.
There's a mantis piece that you can use in the house to practice, and
those dry fire trainings.
It does all of the dry fire like numbers for you, so you could just be able to record everything.
I always wanted to get into something like that, and my girlfriend sent me a link for something like that, and I've been meaning to buy it. I just forget. But there are times at home where like if I'm not doing anything, it's not often, but like I'll be home, and if I'm not doing anything, I'll just like stand there and I'll put my rig on and I'll just practice coming up. Yeah, obviously I clear everything, but I just practice coming up, coming down, coming up, coming down. And then it's like then it's getting on target, and I'm shooting certain targets, and it's like obviously you want everything to be center mass, like right in the middle, but it's just like as long as in my mind, like obviously I want to hit as close to center mass as possible, but I'll work a drill at 5 yards, and I'll work a drill at 7 yards, and I'll work a drill at 10. There's a drill that he was doing, and I just kind of work from there, man. It's all just about practicing, and it's not just a lot of people with guns, they're like, oh, cool, I have a gun. Let me, go to the range and get on target. Yes, getting on target is important, but especially now, it's in the state of New York, people are working on their concealed carries and stuff like that. Like, you can go on Amazon and get a $20 holster and just practice dry firing from home. And you could practice concealed drawing out of range. I mean, you're not going to, but like, train how you fight, right? So it's like, when you're in public and you're looking around, like, especially like the heavily populated places, I'm always just I'm hyper alert when I'm walking around. Like when I work in the city, when I go, my volume on my headphones is at like the bare minimum. I refuse to take my phone out unless I have a phone call, and I'm constantly just like looking around, especially on the subway too. The subway, I'm just I'm sitting there, and I'm not sitting there like this, but like, I mean, I'll be looking down at the floor, and I'll just like kind of be doing this, doing that. There was a guy next to me, that one time, and he was, super covered up and like, look, whatever. And then I was sitting off to the side of him, and I was like this. He got up. I thought he was sleeping. Train stopped. He jumped up, and a giant knife fell out of his pocket. And then I got nervous, so I put my hand to my pocket, like whatever, I was like, all right, like what's about, I mean, he wasn't taking it out, but he just like picked it up and got off the train. But like, I like snap of a finger, I was like, like what's going on here? Just people need to be really aware of what's going on around them. And if you're not going to get a carry permit, fine. I respect that. Carry a pocket knife. Women need to carry bear spray, mace,
And also understand what the law is for the knives too.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not gonna say go out and take a steak knife with you, but like
there's a certain length and whatnot.
Yeah, but you can get like, an inch and a half, just have something. And like I always tell, and all women, they should carry, even men too.
All women should carry the cat lady. That's the one.
Yeah.
I gotta get a sponsorship. This is like the 3rd time I shout these people out. Cat lady or something, whatever it is.
What, are they a mace company?
Nah. So what it is it's like these Wolverine claws that go between. It's almost like they look like they look like brass knuckles, sort of, but they don't wrap around each digit. They just kind of sit in. Yeah. And then if, God forbid, a woman is in an attack, she squeezes it and these little prongs come out, and you could scratch a dude and it takes his DNA too.
Yeah. Oh,
and that's
pretty cool.
It keeps it in the actual unit. So I mean, people that don't know what that is, they're not going to, they may get slashed. They may continue attacking or flee now in that unit. And even if they don't, God forbid, an attack goes further, eventually they're going to leave. Yeah. Most times they're going to leave, and then you still have that. They're not going to, give me that. Yeah. Give me the cat.
I need your blood. Come here.
Yeah. I need the cat.
They have that, and they also not even if you don't want to get violent, they have those little sound machines. You know what I'm talking about, where they hit something and it's like the loudest thing you could possibly.
My mom bought me one of those. Yeah, Kenji. I go. You realize I have a 90-pound Akita, right?
Who clearly, he's sniffing me out. He's like, yo, I'm gonna mess you up. So
he's such a dick.
But like, I'm not. You don't even have to carry a weapon. I mean, I personally believe in carrying a weapon, but like, just carry something that's going to make you aware of what's going on around you. And if you're walking around a place where that's not known to be safe or whatever, just all you got to do is have that thing in your pocket, and you just hit a button, and then just So, but it's
Tiger Lady.
Damn,
I've been fucking up Cat Lady.
There it is. Tiger.
I was like, I got to know what it is.
Tiger Lady.
That's what it looks like.
Oh, that looks painful.
Yeah, oh yeah,
that looks very painful. You get a right cross with that. Yeah,
it's over, dude.
Yeah,
oh yeah, it's over, man.
You get a right cross with that, But it's important to kind of going back to what I said before is, it's important to, when you have a gun, because I know a lot of guys that have guns and they only shoot like once a year, they like, and I try to like.
For the qualifying.
Yeah, or well, not even just like cops, like there are definitely cops out there that just shoot on their qualifying and then they put them away, but it's like, definitely with them and military, I have to qualify twice. Even as a reservist, I still have to qualify twice a year because I carry when I go on my active training in Italy and if I deploy and stuff like that, So it's like, but I try to put a good amount of my, especially as hobbies, I definitely consider shooting one of my hobbies, and it's just like constantly buying ammo, doing this, doing that, but it's just like training to a certain expectation. And I'm never going to get better unless I constantly do something over and over and over. And that applies to everything in life. And there was a quote that I found that I definitely wanted to bring up today. And it goes that we never rise to the level of our expectations. We only fall to the level of our training. So if you set a bar this high and you don't do anything to constantly try to get to that bar, whatever it may be, benching 275, trying to, do a holstering drill in less than 5 seconds, you're never going to get to benching 275 if you don't work your weights up, like if you're just constantly like, obviously when you're building strength, you want to, do 175, 200, 225, but you're never going to get there if you just keep repping out 175 for 1520, like you're never going to get that weight up. I'm never going to get my, my holstering drill, if I'm going to get 2 rounds out, reload in 2 rounds less than 5 seconds, if I keep giving myself 8 seconds to do it, like, or if I'm not, or if it's a concealed draw, but I'm drawing from the outside, you have to be practical with everything you do in life. And it's important to be precise, like if you have something, like you only train to what you have, how much you can lift, how fast you can run, how much you can shoot, how much you can do this, and I feel like that's pretty important because a lot of people, they'll be like, oh, I'm doing this or I'm doing that. And then it's just like something happens and it's like, oh, well, what happened here? And it's like, oh, well, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. But it's like, whose fault is that?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's always good to set a standard and be respectful of that standard and respectful of the people who set that standard for you, but ultimately it comes down to you and what you're doing, and there's so much more to it too. When it comes to setting a standard for, because like, let's just talk about like, weightlifting and training and stuff like that. My motivation through strength training and weightlifting, whatever the case may be, injuries or no injuries, is I may not be the strongest guy in the room. I may not be the fastest guy in the room, but I'm constantly going to try to chase them and be that. That's the basis of it. OG, man, monsters and animals, everyone goes there and it was, OG is a great place, where you just punch it for an hour and you just go and go and go. But one of the things that always annoyed me, and Evan knows this, was a lot of people would show up late. And there's a difference when you run late one day, this, that, the whole nine. But aside from, you and me were mainliner 615ers, before, I got all jammed up or whatever it was. I was at the 615 every single day. And aside from the Goodell sisters, shout out Nicole and Alyssa, because you guys were early and you guys were awesome. Yeah. I walked in that door no later than 6 o'clock every single day. So as people were walking out, I'd be walking in, and you had some people kind of trickle in, this, that, the whole nine. But then like Evan would be going over, the class and going over what we're doing, and then people would just walk in, but it was the same people walking in late all the time. And then they're like, oh, well, I did this today, and they're putting up an Instagram story, worked hard, this and that. No. You didn't work hard. You missed 2 stations. And you came in at 6:25, 6:30. And then, when all of a sudden we start up, oh, what are we doing here? Oh, what are we doing here? Why? Why are you coming in late? Show this man some respect. There was one time where I thought I couldn't get to a class in the morning, and then I ended up being able to get in. And I saw that it was full, but I texted Evan. I'm like, yo, I'm showing up at 6. I know there's going to be about 4 people showing up at 6:30. I should take their spot. I'm dedicated, I'm here to give respect to you because today, you told me to be here at 10. I was here at 9:46, right? Yeah. If you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. I am never, ever, ever late to anything. And I'm always early to something just because I feel, when you're early, you give yourself time. And that's, I guess, a military thing too. The military always told me, if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And then I walked in and I'm like stretching out and stuff. And I think he made the rule that like if you got there after the demo, then you gave up your spot if someone was waiting. And I said, how about punishment? I was like, how about 100 burpees, if they walk in after the demo, maybe if there's a spot open, that's fine. It is what it is. But like, that starts the standard right there is like, if you're going to group fitness or that's just an example. If you're going to group fitness, like show up early for your coaches, get loose. I mean, a broken guy like me has to stretch out for, 10 minutes regardless, so.
I'm the worst. Yeah. I wake up like for a 6:15 class, I wake up at, I was waking up at 4:45 for a while, and then I wake up. Then even now, I wake up at like 5. Even for jiu-jitsu this morning, I woke up at 6 o'clock. I walked Kenji by. Yeah, I'm talking about you, bro.
Yep.
I walked Kenji by 6:15. We walked for like a half hour just to give him something. 6:45.
Mm-hmm.
I left. I got to Sarah's by 6:55.
Yeah.
And then class started 10 minutes later, and I cracked my back twice, and I was like, all right, let's go. Let's roll. And, you feel it, man. So you got to get there. You got to give yourself the time. I'm not sitting here puffing my chest out saying that's the
hell no.
That's the cool way to do shit. It's not. I should be stretching more, and I should be warming up.
And what's crazy, and listen, everyone's different, and I get that. The craziest things that I saw, though, were like, and maybe they're younger and more limber, and I get that because, my body's taken a beating over the years. But like, there are people that could just walk into OG and then Evan will be like, oh, we're doing a 1,000-meter sprint today, and they do it without even stretching. And I'm like, if I don't stretch for at least 10 minutes before I do this, I'm pulling something and I'm out,
Out for weeks. I'm out for weeks.
When I was younger, I used to be able to do that. When I was like 21 to 25 on my time overseas that was when I was in the best shape of my life, when I was out partying, drinking till like 3-4 in the morning, and then we wake up for like PT at like 7 or 8, and I could run 5 miles, no sweat. Like it was waking up like, oh man, take like a hangover shot or like a big chug of water, and I would just go. Now if I, I need 8 hours of sleep, I need to put the cucumbers over my eyes,
spot treatment.
Yeah, spot treatment, I'm always, and it's funny. I tell my girlfriend Carrie, because when she first met me, like I would be rubbing my eyes or this and that. She's like, are you all right? Are you tired? I'm like, I've been tired for the past 8 years. I'm going to be tired for 8 more. Like I'm just constantly tired.
I'm going to be tired for the amount of time I got left on this planet.
Yep, exactly. Like I'm never going to be fully rejuvenated. I'm just all messed up from what it was. But it's
I had this debate with a buddy of mine. Would you rather be tired and beat up and sore and all that stuff, or would you rather be probably a different type of tired because you're sick from not being able to train or not training and staying healthy, and your body feels a little bit better, but it's actually rotting from the inside? So it's like
the first one.
Yeah,
100% the first one.
I know logical people are going to pick the first one.
Yeah.
But, then there's people that just hate the gym and they just don't want to exercise at all.
I'm very glad you brought that up, because that brings me to, we keep going into the good points that I want to talk about. So I definitely would say the first one, and I'll tell you why. And I kind of just said this. Like I'm still in pretty good shape. I definitely take care of myself. I do what I can. Am I in the shape that I was before? No. Am I also riddled with a bunch of injuries? Yes. So I'm trying to just preserve my health and stay loose and this and that and the whole nine. There was a time where, and I specifically remember it, is we all know Rob. We love Rob, right? Rob.
Big Young?
Yeah, Rob Joe Siliberti's roommate, right? As he referred to him.
Big Young?
Yeah, big guy is an absolute monster. And when he gets to the gym, he locks in. There's time where I look at him and, where we would be like make faces and smirk, but like that guy, we would just go. And then we get on stations together and this and that. And he great dude, an absolute truck of a human being. And one day after class, he was looking down and he looked discouraged. And I'm like, what's up, man? What's going on? He's like, today wasn't my day. He's like, I couldn't get this up. I couldn't get that up, whatever. I was like, let me tell you something, man. I was like, perspective is everything in life. Now, if you're normally shoulder pressing 65, 70s, and that day you were sore and you only got up 40, 45s, being able to move your body is a gift. And I looked at him and I said that there are millions and millions, maybe I could even argue tens of millions or hundreds of millions of people who wake up every day and they don't do anything. They don't go for I'm not saying you have to, it's not like, oh, if you don't go to, like if you're not doing a hardcore, fitness class for an hour, you're a scrub, but like going for a walk, going for a run. Yes, weight training, this, that, but like just being able to move your body and get into fitness is a gift. There are people that were born without limbs. There are veterans who come back missing legs, missing arms. And I follow all these guys on Instagram. There's one dude, I forgot his last name, it's Tyler something. He was blown up in Afghanistan. He lost an arm and he lost a leg. And this guy is in the gym deadlifting with one arm, leg pressing with one leg. And all his you know what his captions are? What's your fucking excuse? You know? And there are people with 2 arms and 2 legs that wake up every day and just treat themselves like shit. They binge eat, they do this, they do that. And everyone's different. Maybe there's outside factors and but I went to Rob and I'm like, listen, man, you're going to have your good days and you're going to have your bad days. I was like, there's days where I, would come in here and feel on top of the world and I did great. There are days where I would leave in pain, or I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't go that heavy today. Maybe I should go a little bit lighter. And that's still me every day when I go to the gym. And I'm like, just understand that when you come here and you dedicate yourself to fitness for an hour, that's all you need. Like you need that momentum and that drive to run this amount, to bike this amount. Yeah, you might shoulder press 65s or 70s 5 days of the week, and then on the last day you're only doing 30s because you're so beat up. Obviously, rest days are important, but just the fact that you got up and you went and you took time out of your sleep and out of your routine to go to the gym and haul ass is a blessing and a gift, Fast and the Furious, 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing, right? So, I try to and that's what he looked at me and there were times too, even after that, he'd be like, oh, this, that, the whole nine. I'm like, hey, you got up and moved today. And that's a gift. And he would just look at me. He's like, you know what, man, you're right. And I try to tell people, and there's nothing wrong with swinging for the fences and, and going, balls to the wall and this, that, the whole nine. But I feel like, and maybe this is just my perspective, but the older we get, you still kind of have to be careful because we become a lot more injury prone the older we get. The younger we are, yeah, you might hurt something, but whatever. Now it takes us longer to heal, we have this, we have that, So it's I feel, and I'm not just saying trying to, wimp out of something because I'm not David Goggins running 200 miles a day at the age of 51 or something, and doing a million pull-ups because that guy is made of stuff that's not even on this earth, but it's just as long as you're moving yourself, you're good. So there's a bunch of guys I follow on Instagram. I don't know if you follow them. GBRS. So Global Battlefield Research Solutions. And they're a bunch of awesome guys. It's 2 retired Navy SEALs and retired British SAS operator. Bad dudes. And they just emphasize the basics, man. They run a training company where, they'll do, firearms training and fitness training and this and that. But they go over, what they do what they do 3 times a day? They go for a 20-minute walk with each other. This isn't we're bonding over, doing a marathon every 2 days. You know what? They all wake up together. They get a cup of coffee. They go for a 20-minute walk, and they talk about how important it is to get out, get fresh air, to get air in, to get air in your lungs, just to walk, to open up this, to open up that. They have a stretching and mobility guy. They go over all these different stretches, and I've followed. His name is Vernon Griffith, something like that. He is huge. He's been huge with me lately because I've been slacking. I keep saying I want to get more, back into yoga because yoga keeps you loose and limber.
Yeah. I got to re-download the Pliability app. Pliability is the app that I was using for a while.
I need that
for constant stretches. Mm-hmm. I get I don't know. I get weird because I want to do it at night before bed or in the morning right when I wake up, and I'm just I don't feel like laying on the floor. I'm cold. I'm stiff right now, and obviously that's what's there. It's there to help you. It's there to help you get you more limber.
And this guy, he goes over all these basic functionality movements, and I follow his routines to the T now. My stretching, I would do 5 minutes, and then I would pull a hamstring or hurt this or hurt that, and I'm like, oh, I should probably stretch out more. And then my stretching went from 5 minutes to 10 minutes, and 10 minutes to 15 minutes, and I started getting more and more loose. And don't get me wrong, I'm still stiff as a board, but I'm not getting as hurt as I did before because I would be all right, warm up for 2 minutes, bam, let me go sprint a mile. And next thing I know, my right calf is on fire. And I'm like, why is my calf on fire? And then I would look at some of his stuff and be like, oh, this is how you stretch out your calves. This is how you loosen up your hips. And these guys, they just, and then after that, they go over, they have an online workout program, they have a shooting program, et cetera, so on and so forth. But they're not even all about complicated stuff, man. And these are guys who...
It doesn't have to be complicated. Complicating things sometimes just creates more of a headache for us to do it. And it's not even worth it.
Yeah.
Simple stuff works. It always has. That's why it's the simple stuff.
These are guys that did 50 plus years in special operations, and they're just telling you to go for a 20-minute walk a day.
Let's just take it like this. The fundamentals of jiu-jitsu work not because they're, it's because of the fundamental. They're the building blocks of everything else.
Yes.
So it's you're going to be able to get all that shit done, and it's more effective than if you try doing some fancy shit that doesn't actually do anything.
Oh, yeah. What do do you think I'm gonna go for? You know, if I ever got into a fight, you think I'm gonna go for like an omoplata or something? Hell no.
Made up words out. That's a made up word.
Omoplata, go plata, anything that ends with plata is just
next to him and just hit him on the head while you have
you're like you feel like, you know, like I would only, you know, like complicated moves like that, they're not needed unless the opportunity arises. Yeah. You know, they always teach you, like, for example, you know, the triangle choke, right? Triangles, what am I, if someone's on top of me, am I going to constantly try to pull someone's arm in so I could triangle them? No, I'm only going to go for a triangle if someone's trying to wail on me and I have their arm conveniently in my control, you know. But if someone's on top of me, you know, I'm just gonna try to get out. If you're gonna try to wail on me, yeah, I'm gonna, you know,
gas out while he misses every
shot. But if I have your arm, then it's something you could go for. But it's not like I'm just gonna be like, oh, I need the triangle, I need the omoplata, go plata, this, that, the whole nine. You know, the basics work. You know, if like you said, gassing someone out, letting them, you know, like, you know,
yo, dude, I do that now so good.
What? Just laying on bottom and just letting them gas? Yeah.
I hold people in my guard because I got the strong bodybuilder's legs.
Of course, yeah.
I just hold people in my guard and they'll be struggling. They'll stand up. I'll go for a dummy sweep. They'll sit back down. I'll be like, "Do you see how crazy you're moving right now?" I'm like, "Do you see how relaxed I am?"
Yeah.
I'm chilling.
Yeah.
I go, yo, you can keep going. I'm very relaxed right now. I'm just hanging out.
Yep. Yeah. Well,
Tyler and I, as we say all the time, just hanging out, man.
So the good news was when I got to the UFC gym, or not even actually the UFC gym, when I was overseas and I was rolling with these guys, and I guess it was to my advantage because for the first time I knew more than them. But these were kind of guys that were like 225, 250. These were big dudes, and I mean, I gained a little bit of muscle when I joined. I was, I don't know, maybe 170 at the time. You know, like I was definitely, I got a little bit more meat on me. But they were on top, but they were just panicking, you know, like, you know, they're going for shoulder locks. And I'd be like, nope, not doing that. Oh, I'm going to do this, you know, and I would just, you know, they would do the dirty forearm where they would just grind it across your face, you know, and yeah. And it's just like, and it's making me so uncomfortable because you're just like, you know, like, and there was one guy that I tapped from it because he had this forearm that was just like out to here. And I was just like, yeah, this hurts. Yeah, I'm good.
My jaw can't take anymore.
Yeah, I was like, I'm good here. But like,
I had a fucking purple belt this morning. Super nice guy. Really grade A dude. He was trying so hard to get, for the first couple seconds, he was trying so hard to get an armbar from me, and I was just like, my grips are very strong. I was like,
you were on bottom.
I was on bottom.
Oh, okay.
So I literally just, anytime I feel like an armbar is coming, I grab especially if I'm in gi.
Was it a gi class?
Yeah.
See, but yeah, exactly.
I grab my own gi, and then I kind of like twist my arm like this, and I kind of just, dude, I'm anchored. I don't care if you put a foot in there. I'm so tight right here that you're not going to be able to get through it.
And that's
dude, he was lacing it through for a little while. He was trying, and then he realized that he wasn't going to get it, so he let go, and then I turned into him. So I was like, okay, next thing.
There were people when I was in gi that would get me in arm bars without even touching my arm. They would just pull my cufflink and just yank it in, and I'm like, I'm gone.
And then,
you know, like, yeah.
And all they got to do is go like this.
Yep.
Like, okay, I'm
done.
done.
And I'm trying to get out. They don't have a single hand on my arm, and all it took was 2 grips pulling, but that goes back into, you know, real life, you know, grips, no grips, gi, no gi, etc., so on and so forth. But it just, basics work, man. You know, the basics work. And at the end of the day, are you going to get into a fight with someone that knows more than you? There is a chance that you could, but there is a higher probability that if something happens and you're squaring up with a guy and he's just staring at you in the eyes, then you could just chop him down like a tree to the legs. And hypothetically, if it gets messy and it goes to the ground, you know what to do. You know, concrete hurts. You know, concrete hurts.
We were doing takedowns today, and I said to my partner, I said, "Dude, this takedown would be horrible." On knees, man.
Oh my god,
it would be. My knee would blow out right there. And I'd have to lay down and pretend to be dead like one of those goats.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
I'm dead.
Especially like when you watch like competition, you know, and I get like, you know, wrestling is a whole thing, but like, do you think I'm going to shoot a double leg on concrete? My knee is going to get shredded to bits if I do that.
Especially in shorts.
Oh yeah, exactly.
It's over, man.
Yeah,
maybe
you know,
jeans, you got something.
You know, I would rather take my chances in a clinch and go from like a leg sweep or something, but like, or try to go hip to hip or something like that. But if you think that I'm going to shoot for a double leg in normal clothes, you got no way is that happening. I'm going to hurt myself more than I hurt you.
No, I'm good. I'm skipping that one.
Yeah,
skipping that lesson.
Absolutely not. What else did I have?
So
here?
actually, I wanted to back up. I wanted to ask you about the military. I wanted to ask you about the military and just like what got you into it. How did you get involved? Was it something that you always wanted to do? And then obviously your time in South Korea, like my buddy Daquan, he came on a long time ago.
Yeah.
And he was in the Air Force and he was talking about soju and all this stuff. Oh yeah, I knew it. You fucking military guys. You guys are crazy motherfuckers.
Soju, man. That was that was the poison.
Yeah, he was talking about soju and just like the life over there. And I'm just curious what your experiences were.
Oh man, wow! I guess I could be here forever talking about this. So, so the military, right? So I was in high school, and I started seeing ads for stuff, and I didn't know at the time. I was like, I was like kind of like every other kid in high school. You're kind of undecided. You don't know what you want to do. There are very few that who are like, oh, I'm going to do this, and they go out and do it. And props to them when they do.
I still don't know what I want to do.
Exactly. Someone just you
32 years old. I still don't.
No, you got it going on, man. Look at this.
I'm doing stuff, but
exactly. No, it's all right. So I was like, all right, I'm, like I still don't know what I want to do, this, that. So I graduated and I went to my parents and I told them I was thinking about the military, and I talked to a friend of mine who was in, and he was like, listen, man, he was like, you can't join the military half-ass. Like, like now you can go active duty, be overseas, do what you got to do, or like if you just want to do boot camp and do your training and then just jump right into the reserves, then you could do that as well. But, the military is a pretty big investment because then, you owe the government your body for a couple years.
Yeah, you're in.
So I was like, you know what? Let me get some more time to think about it. So I went to Nassau Community College and just to, get a little bit of education under my belt. And I graduated, and this was 2013. I graduated in December of 2013 and revisited the conversation with my parents. They were like, what do you want to do? And I, like, are you going to go to school from here, this, that? And at the time, I mean, listen, we all know, like, college is stupid amounts of money. Stupid amounts of money.
My mother hates when I say that I don't believe that Quinnipiac was worth the money.
Yeah, no, and
every single time. I did 2 years at Nassau, which was a
love Nassau.
Great idea.
Nassau was awesome.
2 years at Nassau, and then I was doing 2 years at another college.
Yeah.
And truthfully, with the amount of money I spent at Quinnipiac,
sick.
I should have just went to like University of Hawaii or somewhere fucking fun and warm.
Yep.
Instead, I chose depressing Connecticut.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, and now there's a rebuttal from the world saying, oh well, yeah, actually, you probably don't need a college degree for a lot of these different things. And
yes and no, it depends on the field you want to go to.
I mean, obviously, college degree for a fucking doctor. Yeah. But I'm saying for most of these careers that they're saying, they're saying, oh well, you know what? Now we're not really looking that much into the college degree as like the end all be all. And I agree with that because there's a lot of people that are way smarter and way more in the actual dirt of work and actually getting their fingernails dirty and actually doing things.
Trade work.
Exactly. Well, that, and I'm saying, I'm not even saying I physically dirty, but I'm saying there's somebody that could have been, let's say, a photographer and a cinematographer. Yeah. And they've worked on indie sets and they've done a lot of things just by networking, and they never went to film school.
Yeah.
But they're more qualified than the dude that's in a 4-year film school because the dude that, oh, well, he's learning about the abstract look of this artist and this and that. The other dude was doing it. Yeah. He was just doing shit. So there's some things to be said about an actual college degree. And if it actually is mandatory for $52,000 a year is what Quinnipiac was. I only went for 2 years. And that was 2 years too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 2 years too long.
And I agree, like
car payment every month.
Oh, yeah. Disgusting.
Loans.
Disgusting.
It's insane.
Disgusting, and then you college can benefit some people, it's not like you have to completely rule it out, but like my dad was a local 3 electrician in the city, and he got in and did great, had a great career, has retired, lives in Florida, has a great pension. A lot of people, especially in this day and age, like when I was growing up, I'm 30, but like when I was growing up, not many people were talking about trades, or like, oh, well, you don't want to be a plumber. You don't have to deal with this. You don't want to be an electrician. You want to do this. Like, and then I actually worked with my dad for 2 summers before I joined. I was a summer apprentice for Local 3. I'm coming to find out that journeyman plumbers in Local 1 were making like $92 an hour.
Yeah.
And
guess what? When the day is done, the day is done.
Yes, yeah, exactly. You're not on call. You punch your hours and you go home. Oh, you want some overtime? Here, like
you
here's
get
this
to enjoy. You're not just creating a career. This is the big thing that I'm learning now. You're not just creating a career. You're creating a life.
Yep.
That's the big thing.
Exactly. So I graduated Nassau, and I still was kind of unsure with what I wanted to do, but I wanted a challenge. I was the skinny kid in high school that didn't do any sports, like I wasn't on the football team. I wasn't doing this. I wasn't doing that. I was just another, schmo walking the hallway. I was involved in music at the time, my other hobby, which is drumming, that was that I started drumming when I was a kid.
Zachy drums.
Yeah. We'll get to that. But I was like, I'm just another guy here. And then like, I was like, you know what? I got something to prove to myself. Like, I want to go challenge myself. I've never challenged myself before. I never went out for sports in high school. I never did this. I never did that. And then I kind of told my parents, like, hey, like, I think I want to do this. I came from a pretty simple background. My parents got divorced when I was 4. I didn't have any siblings, so I didn't really have like an anchor at home. Like, yeah, like I love my mom, I love my dad, but it was just like I wasn't anchored to anything. I was like, I wasn't in a relationship at the time, and I'm like, all right, I might as well go for it. This was after, the Nassau and everything, I was like, I might as well go for it. And I joined the Navy in 2014. I decided to go active. It's so funny too, because I didn't know what branch I wanted to join. So my dad went with me to all the different recruiters, and I went to the Marines, and I was like,
what did each one promise you?
Yeah, exactly.
What did each one promise you? Who promised you the Hellcat?
I went to the Marines and the Army, and I looked at the Marine jobs, and I was like, I don't know about all that. And then I went to the Army, and then they were like, well, you could do this, you could do that, whatever, so on and so forth. And then I was stupid. If I knew now I knew that, I would have joined the Air Force. But yeah,
Air Force is cushy.
They got steak and lobster every day for dinner. But so I looked at the Navy, and it said, what at the time it was join the Navy, see the world, right? And I was like, you know what, maybe the Navy will work for me. I'll try this out. And then I took my ASVAB, and I got my scores, and I was like, he's like, oh well, you could be an MP, and we do this and we do that. Recruiters they sell you, and I was like, sure, yeah, I'll be an MP. This will be cool. Maybe it'll apply to something when I get out, as opposed to just sitting on a computer and doing this and doing that, the whole nine. So I joined up. My first duty station was, South Korea, 2014, 2016. South Korea, my first couple months there were rough because I missed home a lot. I finally realized, like, I wasn't stationed in the States. I was stationed halfway across the world. North Korea at the time, Kim Jong-un, he was, lighting off, like
doing shit.
Yeah, so it was kind of like, don't get me wrong, obviously we had a ton of free time to go out and do this and do that, but like whenever he was like testing like bombs in the ocean, like they would come out with like orders for us saying like, oh, be aware of this, be aware of that, and you're like, oh wow, okay, so this is kind of like whatever. So, but it was really cool because my dad came out to visit me for Christmas that year. We had a good time, this, that. But Korea was awesome.
Christmas in Korea. Huh?
Christmas in Korea. Well, I mean, I didn't come home for a single holiday in my 4 years active.
Why?
So I spent my time coming home in the summer. Well, also actually it wasn't even just that. More of the senior guys were allowed leave in like the big holidays, and since I was a junior guy, it was kind of like earning your stripes. Like, so if I had like a 11 or 12 year guy saying like, oh, well, I'm going home, and then I'm like, hi, little Gunnison, little petty officer, 3rd class Gunnison wants to go home. It's like, oh, well, we're already filled up for Christmas leave block, so you got to stay here. Sucks to suck, rookie. Like one of those deals. So I was like,
was
okay.
it bad staying there?
No, it wasn't. Like I said, it was only like the first couple months that kind of were rough from missing home, and then like I kind of just got used to it, and I lived a pretty normal life there. Luckily, Korea really wasn't bad. I was doing base security there, and it was just, we stood gate and controlled the entry points. Nothing really happened. Driving around, I think I pulled over maybe like 3. It was a very small, quiet base. We had a population of maybe like 140, 150 people. Long days though. I had a very easy job, and the hardest part about my job was not falling asleep because I was up. We work 5 to 5, but you had to be at work at 4, which means you had to be up at 3:30 because you had to be at work at 4. You have to arm up. You have to go over what you're going on for the day. And these days on gate, like, you're on the gate and it's not hard, but you're standing there in full gear, you have your vest on, you have your belt, your gun, your cuffs, your mags, your baton, your flashlight, and you're just standing there for 8 to 12 hours a day.
The nighttime would probably be the hardest.
The nighttime was worse because like I would hear my own thoughts in my head,
midnight to 5. Yeah. Midnight to 5.
Oh yeah, I would stand out there and like I was with the Korean guards too, and I miss those guys. They were good guys. Like we would talk and stuff. But that's all you could do is talk. You can't have your phone. You can't be distracted. There's cameras all around you,
Truthfully, in a lot of ways, that's actually really good for your brain.
It was.
For your mind, because it's actually the time that you probably... It was probably some of the only time that you've had actual downtime.
Oh, yeah,
Even though you're on.
Yeah.
It is downtime for your brain.
It's down, but then, like, you just kind of feel... You're just, like, I'm staring into the street for 6 hours, and I'm like, man, what is going on out here, So it's like...
I helped a buddy with construction one time, and he...
You just watched paint dry.
We were flagging.
Yeah.
In the city.
Oh, okay, like on the side, side of the road, yeah.
Like moving cars and whatnot.
Just...
And I'll tell you what, man, that was the worst. That we did 20 hours or something like that. And bro,
When you stand still and you just let your body lock up, it's the worst.
yeah,
So,
and it was cold.
yeah.
I was looking around, and the thing that fucking pissed me off about it, fucking Petey. The thing that pissed me off about it was he went into his car and took a nap for an hour and a half. I was outside. So then when it was my turn, he's like, yo, you could take a nap after me. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
He gets out because the boss comes onto the site.
Yeah.
And then we're outside, this and that. And then the boss decides to stay. And Petey goes, oh, yeah, you can't go in the car and nap now. And I'm just
What the hell you mean I can't?
Okay, so now I was here. And I was on another corner away from him for a while. And then there was nothing going on.
Yep.
And so I definitely understand what you mean when it's...
Oh, it was that was the hardest part about it. But like, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but South Korea is one of the most technologically advanced countries in the world.
Yeah.
When I tell you this,
So?
I went to Seoul twice. So
Okay.
the DMZ is up there. I went out there. Actually, my first UFC event was UFC Seoul when Ben Henderson fought Korean Zombie, I think was the main event. Yeah, it was like a whole bunch of Korean fighters, and then Benson Henderson was on that and all this stuff. So me and my buddies, two of us took leave, and then we all went up there. But like we stayed the night. We got to go out. It was awesome. But every single place you go had Wi-Fi. And the Wi-Fi there is faster than any Wi-Fi I've ever been on in my life. Even in the States now, that South Korean Wi-Fi was lightning quick. And
I wonder how fast they're running.
I don't know, but all I know is that they had the best internet I've ever had in my life. I got a PlayStation, like whenever me and my buddies would play, like, we would sit in our barracks and play PlayStation and just like pound endless, Bud Lights and stuff like that. But South Korea, and South Korea was a party, man. Like the nightlife out there was awesome. We would go to, a town or two over and go out and party. Soju, nectar of the gods. You pay, here it's different because of import tax, but like we were paying, like we go to the corner store, pay like $1.20 for like 3 bottles of soju, and then I'd go to Busan, and Busan is a huge party city, very, very industrialized there. We would take the bus there. The bus is like it's like an hour long. I would have like 3 bottles of soju, not know who I was by the time I got there, and I spent $6.
Yeah.
It was awesome. So South Korea was a good staple. I got to do.
How was the food?
Food was great. You ever Korean barbecue?
I've not had Korean barbecue. I have a lot of Korean friends, and I have not had Korean barbecue.
If you ever want to smash some Korean barbecue, you call me because
good places in.
No, I don't. I actually have never been to Korean barbecue here because of how overpriced it is. I would go though, but I haven't found enough people to like want to go with me. But like you go, you do the bulgogi, everything on the table. I'll definitely spend some money on that. But like we would go to places. And like we would tip them, so they would hook us up. So it's like like they would give us like 3 bottles of soju for one.
Tipping culture only seems and you owe them 500%.
Exactly. So if like the bill was like $80, we would give them like 130. Because we're all tipping out like 10 here, 20 here. And then like the next time around, they're giving us all this extra food. They're giving us extra soju. It was a great place. I don't know if not many people know this. I got LASIK there. And the thing was I wore glasses my whole life. And my buddy's wife went out in town there and got LASIK. And she was like, it's great, this, that, the whole nine. I applied for LASIK through the Navy, but since I wasn't considered in like a Condition 1 combat zone, I wasn't like essential. So they put me at like, I don't know, Tier 3, Condition 3, and I had to wait like 3 years or whatever the case was. So I did my own research and I found the place into town and I bought it to my command and I was like, hey, like, can I get it out in town? I know it's not through the military. And they were like, you can, but so I sat down with the commanding officer and he was like, these are the stipulations. Like you have to pay for it. We're not going to give you medical leave for it. You have to take your vacation leave if to recover. And that was pretty much it. Like you're accepting the risks of what you're doing. Now this is a place that had great reviews, not a single this, that, the whole nine. And I went in and I went for the test. I qualified for it, and the CO signed off. He's like, "You sure you want to do this?" I said, "Yeah, it's fine." I got LASIK there. Oh, the first 5 minutes. I don't know if you got LASIK. You know anyone with LASIK?
So as you're saying that, I'm sitting here with you just slightly out of focus because I need to be wearing my glasses.
Oh, okay.
And for some reason, I don't like wearing my glasses. I don't like the feeling of everything being blurry and then this is like tack sharp.
Yeah.
It freaks me out a little bit.
I
guess as my vision is becoming more poor due to not only aging, but looking at screens all the time and whatnot, I'm finding I used to love wearing my glasses all the time.
Yeah.
Now I'm finding it harder and harder to want to wear them for prolonged periods of time because it generally does feel very strange to me as my prescription is getting stronger.
Oh yeah. Well, mine got worse and worse and worse. And this was when I really started to like dive into fitness because it was just a military culture, working out this and that. And I'd be running and my glasses would be bouncing up and down. I was like, I can't do this anymore, So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try because contacts were burning my eyes. I couldn't do glasses anymore.
I've never tried contacts.
So I tried them twice and I I mean, contacts do burn your eyes at first. That's kind of the point. I just hated it. And I was like, you know what? Let me try this whole LASIK thing, you know? And the first, I'm gonna be real with you. It takes about 10 minutes. It's like 5 minutes each eye. The first 5 minutes were probably the scariest 5 minutes of my life.
I know, I've heard. Please list it down for people that don't.
Okay, so and I'm just gonna be
I'm gonna be squirming when you're talking about this.
I'm gonna be brutal. I'm gonna be brutally honest here. It doesn't hurt. It just so this is what they do. They put a clamp in that holds your eye open.
Hate that. Then
they put eye drops in, so it's like a numbing eye drop, so you don't feel pain. I felt no pain. I want to say I felt no pain during this. I felt zero pain. But the problem is that you have this clamp, and they tell you if you look away, it's gonna screw your eye up. So you have to watch your eye get taken apart. They take the top layer off, they laser in, do what they got to do, put it back on, and you are watching all of it happen. You are staring into this laser. You smell the burning because they're, doing whatever the hell they got to do. It doesn't hurt. It does not hurt a single bit. It is just the scare.
Mind fuck.
It is the biggest mind fuck.
Put me to sleep, bro.
They can't do that because when you sleep, your eyes go to the back of your head and you have to stare. And they literally they told you over and over again, if you look away, this is going to hurt. You're not going to be able to see out of your eye. It's going to fuck you up.
Don't fuck me up like that.
So listen, I was hyperventilating for the first bit of it. They stopped. I said, all right, let's go back into it. And then after that, they did my left eye, no problems. But my right eye, that 5 minutes it felt like an hour, and it was terrifying. But they did my left eye. I calmed down. I was like, oh, okay, well, never mind. That really wasn't so bad as long as I look forward, right? So. And then after they tape you up, then my buddy took me out. He helped me. My roommate at the time, Gabe Murray. Shout out Gabe Murray. I miss that guy.
Shouts to the homie.
Yeah, shout out to the homie. I hope he's doing well. He helped tape up the windows that we had in our barracks. So we put like cardboard over them and blackened them out and stuff like that.
Yeah, because light is tough.
So the first couple days are pretty tough. Yeah, I healed generally quick though. I think I took 10 days or 11 days of leave. And I was back at work after like the 5th or 6th day.
So were you able to get those other days back?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So I was able to cancel my leave early, and I got those 5 days back because I told them I this is what I said. I said, hey, I was like, it was the first 2 or 3 days I couldn't really see, but then they tell you to gradually introduce light. So then I would put sunglasses on and then turn a light on here and turn a light on here, and then it got to a point where like I went outside at night with sunglasses on and I was sitting there or I was walking around, and then like I would take my sunglasses off at night and I would just kind of look at street lights, and it was a little bright. And I kind of just told them, I'm like, hey, like I can come back, but I was like, if a room is super, super light, I'm going to have to put sunglasses on. I'll keep sunglasses on inside, but like I can see, like in this,
put them on night duty. Boom.
Yeah, no.
The stamp on.
No, I'm trying to remember. I think we were on nights at the time, and I think it did work out like that. But like in our like dispatch area, we had lights on and stuff, and they were like, yeah, we don't care if you're, it is what it is. You got to wear sunglasses. So but then after that, I mean, it was just, and then just gradually got better and better. But my eyes are still a little bit more sensitive. I put eye drops in every morning, like because they dry out a little bit. I wear sunglasses in most places that more people don't. Like if only like a shred of light is coming through, I'll put sunglasses on just because they're sensitive. But night and day, man. I'm able to see now. I'm knock on wood. I think I'm still at 20/20. So anyhow, so Korea,
I've had floaters in my eyes for a long time.
So listen, but in the States now it's like, I don't know, $7,000 or something like that.
Is that expensive or cheap?
I paid $1,300 for both of my eyes, and then the medical eye drops after.
That seems to be
pennies to the dollar.
That seems to be most procedures.
Pennies to the dollar. Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like, so they are so advanced and so ahead and this was 2016 at the time. It's probably LASIK here is probably still even more, and there you're paying just over $1,000 for it. And
you said 7,000.
I want to say I think roughly a LASIK, but it also depends on how bad your eyes are. But I think the average is like 6,000 or 7,000. Yeah. So go ahead and enlighten me.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah. If you just search what the average LASIK procedure is in the United States.
LASIK, on average, LASIK costs between $2,000 per eye to $4,000 or more per eye.
Per eye. So
that's what they're saying. But then there was an ad up top.
4,000. So that's 4,000 to 8,000, depending on.
There was an ad up top. LASIK Garden City, highest rated LASIK clinic. We've made premium LASIK more affordable. 3,000 for both eyes for a limited time.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah,
that's not bad. But regardless, 2016, I paid $1,200 for $1,300 for both eyes. It was great. So South Korea was cool. I had a lot of fun there. You know, like I said, the work wasn't.
I want to visit South Korea.
It was a great. I definitely would recommend. You know, not many people really know what goes on out there. And then like from there, I went to Japan for a week. Japan was cool.
So jealous about that, man.
I didn't get to do much there. I was only there for a week, but I was on like temporary duty there. We had to do like it was like some sort of intoxilizer thing that we were doing for like road stops. I did.
They drinking and driving out there?
Well, no, we were getting trained on the new intoxilizer that we had to administer in case there was suspicion of DUI or anything like that. So then my 2 years were up, and then I ended up scoring a really good deal. I was supposed to go to an aircraft carrier after. I was supposed to go to the USS Nimitz out of Washington at the time. This was 2016.
Is that the dream or?
No, it was not the dream. I was applying for other overseas duty stations, and I was getting shot down for all of them, but the order writing system like crashed, and like 5,000 people lost their orders. And I was supposed to leave Korea in like 3 weeks, and I didn't have orders. And I'm like, what's going on here? So I talked to the detailer, and I ended up scoring really good orders to this really small naval base in a town called Gaeta, which is in Italy. And it's a little harbor security command, so little tiny boats driving around and stuff. The USS Mount Whitney was there, so we were doing port security for them. And when I tell you that 2016 to 2018 in Italy were the best years of my life, they were the best years of my life. I loved Italy, man. My workload was not too heavy. You know, we did boat maintenance, we drove around, but like it was never anything crazy because like, when the Mount Whitney was in, we didn't really have to deal with them, but like it was a small command. There was no barracks, so I had an apartment out in town. On the weekends that we were off, as long as we were in good behavior, we were able to go pretty much anywhere in the European Union for the 3 days that we were off, and we didn't have to take vacation. We just had to like pretty much ask for a request to go. Me and my buddies, we saw like, oh my God, I want to say it was like 13 or 14 countries. I've been to Austria. I don't even want to start where I've been to. Europe was beautiful, man. I don't know how much of Europe you've seen, but Europe was.
I've done Switzerland, Italy, France, Germany. Did a little Greece.
Greece was the most
but
beautiful water I've ever been.
So I don't really remember it. Spain too. Spain, I don't really remember too much of.
Been to Spain. Spain was cool.
Yeah,
but Italy.
So I guess the Navy poster wasn't lying.
I did see the world. Yeah. So when I got off initial active duty in 2018, I think I had like 20 countries under my belt. Or it was like 18 or 19 countries under my belt, and I got out because I wanted to go reserves. Well, after that, let me backtrack a little bit. They said that if I wanted to stay in, they were going to send me to Nebraska to like an Air Force base, and the work there wasn't that good. I didn't think it was going to be rewarding to my career, so I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm going to still keep my uniform. I'm going to go into the reserves, but I'm going to go home, go to school, and so on and so forth. So I came home. I went to school for a year, but then I signed up for a deployment that I can't really talk about. It's kind of no, it's one of those things. But let's just say that the deployment was awesome. I saw more of the world. I got to shoot machine guns and this and that, the whole nine. I got to train with a bunch of guys that were bad dudes. If you get what I mean.
Where were you when they killed Osama?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Like one of those things. So, I got to wear normal clothes for 7 months. I didn't have to wear a uniform. We were all on a first name basis. It was one of those things. Great time. I'll probably go back out with them in a couple years when my time is up again. But the military has been great, man, and it got me my bachelor's degree. It got me my foot in the door with a lot of things. It helped with you know what it did? Help with a lot of networking. And one of the things that I got a recommendation letter from this guy. I reached out to this guy, this, that, the whole nine, especially because being in the reserves, there's always orders going on everywhere. Oh, you're here. Oh, hey, I'm trying to come out to where you are. Can you see if they have any like 2 or 3 month billets here, this, that, the whole nine. And I met a lot of solid guys, like a lot of solid dudes. And one of the things that I actually always say is I have the biggest love-hate relationship with social media, the biggest love-hate relationship. I know you've talked about it on pretty much every single one of your podcasts.
Get me started.
I'm just going to say my 2 cents of why I'm grateful for it.
I want you to.
My 2 cents of why I'm grateful for it is because I joined the military at a time where Facebook was kicking off. Instagram wasn't hot until a couple years ago. But I still talk to guys that is it simple enough to get someone's number and download WhatsApp and text them and this and that? Like, yeah, of course I could do that, because everyone is in different parts of the world and WhatsApp is the most common, texting app no matter where you are. But I still talk to like guys in Korea. Like I'm in a group chat with them, and I've been in a group chat with them since 2014. We play fantasy football every year. You know, some of them are still in the military and deployed. Some of them are civilians. Some of them are civilian reservists like me. Like we are scattered all over, and I'm going to talk to these guys till the day I die. You know, like we're going to play fantasy every year. We talk UFC. We all used to get together for UFC fights. So like when UFC events are going on, you know, it'll be like 5 p.m. in this guy's time zone. It's 1 a.m. here. I'm falling asleep, you know, this, that. And they're all great dudes. And we BS day and night. All my guys from Italy, you know, I still talk to them every now and then. You know, so social media I'm grateful for that because I'll see what they're doing on Facebook or what they're doing on Instagram. Some people post a lot. Some people don't post at all. But like, Facebook Messenger has been great. Instagram's been good, you know, like whatever the case is, it's awesome to see him doing this, doing that. So that, and I want to say for that reason and that reason only is why I'm grateful for social media. I think social media is a disaster. Otherwise, obviously, I can't talk too much about it because I'm a guy that uses social media, not a lot, but a little bit. But I'm just so happy to still talk to those dudes, and I'm going to talk to them forever. And I hope, like, you know, down the road, I'll run into them somewhere because when I got to, especially Korea, you know, I didn't know anyone there, you know, and I became close with a certain amount of people, and then we'd go out, we'd party, we'd work, we'd do this, we'd do that. And, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, after I left in 2016, it's like telling yourself like, wow, I came really close to these guys and I may never see them again, you know? And, you know, one of the things that sucked was, that guy, Chris, I was telling you about before, who I worked with. He was an MP with me, and we were doing the jiu-jitsu and the competitions together. I think about a year after I left, I got word that he passed away, and I still to this day kind of don't know what happened. There's something about a blood clot, but I don't know. And that's like, you always wish you could say more and do this, you know, and do that, and you know. So I lost him a year after. I was super close with him. A guy I grew up with, you know, God rest his soul, Chris, and God rest my buddy TJ, who I worked at Applebee's with. He joined the Marines. He came back. He unfortunately took his life. You know, he got out of the military. I guess he decided that the civilian world wasn't accepting of him, and he didn't want to be here anymore. And it's just like, you know, I'm grateful for a lot in the military and the bonds that I've built and the friendships that I've had, but I've also lost a decent amount of people on the way too. And, you know, when I first, especially like, you know, with the guys that I did lose, you know, I started doing probably towards 2017, 2018, I started doing the Murph. And the Murph challenge was based on, you know, Michael Murphy, Operation Red Wings. We all know that. And I was grateful enough that the first year that I did it at OG, Evan and Taylor were just awesome about it. They didn't even do an event for it. Like Taylor was like, hey, I'm just going to come, you know, you guys can do it. And Taylor, it was me, this guy, Mike. I don't know if you know him. He's in Brazil now. He's working with the feds. But he was the dude that always had a vest on every class, huge, built like a truck. He had the 75th Ranger Regiment tattoo on the back of his shoulder. If I showed you a picture of him, you'd probably recognize him.
When I don't interact with people on a daily, I don't, you know the name quick.
Of course, yeah.
Hey.
So when that rolled around on April weekend, like they were like, hey, like, you know, just come in at this time, and it was me, him, and this girl Diana, who's an NYPD cop. She's awesome people, and it was just the three of us. We came in, I wrote on the board, hey, this is what we're doing. And then I wrote for Chris, for TJ, and then, you know, and Taylor was there, you know, because obviously, you know, their gym, and we just ripped, and we just did it. And then
it's every April?
Every April, Memorial Day, it's like Memorial Day weekend is when they do it, you know. And then that kind of like moved forward, and then like Evan made an event out of it, you know, like last year, you know, he told me, he was like, hey, like, you know, I think it was supposed to fall on like a leg day, and he was like, hey guys, we're doing the Murph today. Mm-hmm. He's like, this is what the workout is, and this is what
I was there doing last year. I had a hurt AC joint, so I couldn't do it. But I still did most of it.
Yeah, no, listen, I try to do my best with it too now. You know, I can do it, but I can't do it as fast as I used to be able to do it.
What is it running down again?
It's a mile run. 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, and then another mile run. Some do it with the vest, some do it without the vest. And it's just like, you know, it's just one of those things. It's one of those things that every year, you know, I get to look back and think on like the times that I had with those guys and stuff like that. You know, they contributed to all the fallen members of the military. Obviously, it was for Michael Murphy, who was out of Ronkonkoma. Actually died with an FDNY patch on for I think it was his dad. That was FDNY. But it's like a commemorative for, everyone that has passed away in the military. And when I would show up to do it, I would write on a piece of paper for Chris and for TJ. And and my piece of paper just sat on the floor and no one touched it. People would go by it and look down but I scotch taped that piece of paper to the floor, and people would go by it, this and that. And there was like two guys that would look at the piece of paper and then they would look back at me. Cause listen, I had a vest on, but you could tell I was military. I had my unit patch. I had this, I had that, whatever. So they would turn around and look at me, and then they gave me knuckles or whatever. I don't even remember who it was, but the guys just looked at me and they're like, yeah, that's it right there. So, but like,
It started with his passing, Murph.
So it started.
What is the significance of the workout, though? Is there a reason?
That was his favorite workout.
That was
to
his
do.
favorite workout.
Yeah,
I figured it was either something that he did.
So when he passed and Red Wings happened and Lone Survivor, I'm sure great book, even great book, great movie. They came back and they said like this was his favorite workout to do, and they made something out of it. So, but anywho, it's just the military's been great with my mindset, and it's developed me as a man and as a person. It's just, and I've had a lot of ups. I've had a lot of ups and a lot of downs, and it's just like, I'm grateful for everything I've done, things that I continue to do, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a hero, but I've seen a lot of the world. I've seen a lot of the world that a lot of people don't see. Yeah. And I'm not just talking going to Europe, partying, this, that, the whole nine. I've seen some things where, again, like I can't really talk about it, but
scourge of the earth.
But there's certain countries that are just like legit war zones, and people going back to, I guess, the second or third point of politics and complaining about politics here, and this is wrong with the United States and that's wrong with the United States. They don't understand like perspective. Like, okay, this is what the problems are in the United States. We might be working on them. We might not be working on them, but you guys need to understand something. Like, we are a powerhouse of the world. There is so much wrong with the Middle East. There's so much wrong with Asia. There's stuff that's wrong with Europe. Like, there's great countries out there that are awesome. Don't get me wrong, but like, I've seen just like, I go past some stuff or read about some stuff that will never be in the news. No one's ever going to know about it. But like, it's just like one of those things where I'm like, I can't believe people are complaining about this here.
I have friends that are spec op guys. They disappear,
probably
they disappear for a few months and then they come back and you're like, oh, hey, what's up, man? How you been? They're like, crazy shit, man.
Yeah. What kind of crazy shit? Just crazy shit. Yeah.
At this point, I know not to ask. I just go, I'm glad you're good.
Yeah, no, it's like, but it's not even just that. But if you were to ask them that too, like, do you feel people are ungrateful in America? 100%.
Well, I believe that has to do a lot with just
reality. Yeah.
Not living in reality. I have a feeling that has to do more so with the false realities that people believe.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that the only bubble they know is...
Oh my God, I hate to use this fucking buzzword. The echo chamber. I hate that. Everyone uses that word. Someone used it and everyone uses it now. But the echo chamber of their life, of what they see on social media or the celebrities or this or that. And, oh, well, why isn't my life like that? I need to go to Art Basel and all these different stuff. I'm not living a good life if I don't get to go to the Formula One race in Vegas for $3,500 a ticket.
Yeah.
Like, nah, bro. Like, there's a lot that you got going on that you really don't understand and know about.
All you read and see is what's going on and what's wrong in America. Like, I mean, over the past couple of years, unfortunately, we have, and we're not going to dive into it, but we have Israel and Gaza going on right now. We have Russia and Ukraine, but like, there's, but I'm going to leave it at that. Yeah. I'm going to leave it at that. Is like, but that has the potential of growing full scale, and there's so much going on over there. But then people are still waking up and complaining about what's going on in America. There are families getting shelled in the Middle East. There are families that wake up to gunfire. There are families, there are wives and children that are being taken away from their husbands because their husbands are being recalled to active duty to fight for their homeland, and I'm not going to sit here, talk about sides or anything, but like, there's so many places, and not even just that too. There are warlords and militias. You ever see 13 Hours, the story of Benghazi?
No.
Put that on your list.
Okay.
13 Hours, the story of Benghazi. That was about a CIA stronghold in Libya that was taken over by a local militia, and GRS, which was a bunch of retired spec ops guys. There was 8 of them defending against like 500.
Is this the one that Clinton left? Is that the one? Is that the Benghazi that I'm?
Yeah.
I don't know nothing.
Yeah.
I don't. Truthfully, I don't.
If you want to dive into it,
Truthfully, I know nothing about it. You hear Benghazi, and then I think Clinton, because that's all I hear.
It was
hand in hand. I have no idea what it actually is.
Yes. So there was 8 dudes defending a CIA stronghold. We lost 2 of them. We lost the ambassador, but then. Like that's what I'm saying. Like there's all these militias going for power. Black Hawk Down, the Desert Storm. That was a mess within itself because we were sending all these army guys to go to the Middle East, trying to maintain a stronghold. But local militias, local warlords, this, that, the whole nine. There's so much in history that happens that a lot of people don't know about because they just live in this bubble that is the United States, and they don't. I get it. You don't want to worry about the problems of other people. You want to focus on yourself. But they're like, oh, the United States is wrong with this. Oh, the United States is wrong with that. Oh, we're doing this. We're doing that. Like, this world is a mess.
Would you still, and obviously you have to have some type of a tailored response due to your active role in the military. But would you still consider the America to be a powerhouse of the world?
Yes. Because I 100% do. And I'll tell you why. Because we have all these bases and outposts in every other country. I was in a naval base in South Korea. Does South Korea have a naval base in the United States?
You hear about
no,
but you hear about all these different things with like China having now police forces, like little things in the U.S. as like hubs and whatnot.
But it's not a full-blown military base. We have bases everywhere around the world, and we are the only country that has bases all over the world.
Zachy Gunz. Sketchy.
So, but that's big government. I'm here to do my part and do what I got to do, whether I agree or disagree. I wear a uniform for a reason. There's a reason why I'm in. There's a reason why I haven't gotten out.
And truthfully, all of my friends that have gotten out, they say they wish they never did. They wish they had stayed.
Well, everyone has different perspective,
Every single
a lot of people that get out, it's because they disagree with what the government is doing. And I'm not saying I agree or disagree with everything that happens.
And I'm not even saying that's why they got out. There's the switch of career, whatever their reasoning for having left, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I'm saying the switch in career going from military, especially because, what do most military guys turn to? They turn to cops.
Exactly.
Because that's like the life that they know, at least in that form.
Yeah.
On civilian type
land.
But now you have them on that perspective and they go, wow, I can't fucking I wish I was still in the military.
Everyone's different. But it's just, in total, it's the military's taught me a lot. It has made me a pretty I don't want to say a pretty spot on person, but I'm pretty attentive to detail. Like I said, I'm early to everything, that's one of the things that's forever in my head. I make my bed every single day, and I make, I used to make my bed a certain way. Now, I just make it for the sake of, for it being made. But there's a lot of people that, and Admiral Bill McRaven, he started that whole video of the steps you take in a day to make your day better and to be more productive. And the speech that he made as the Chancellor of the University of Texas was, as a Navy SEAL for over 40 years, the first thing you have to do when you wake up in the morning is make your bed. It's not waking up and killing the bad guys. It's waking up and making your bed. And now it's doing this and it's doing that, So he's a pretty good read too. I don't know if you're a big reader, but Bill McRaven,
I've become more of a regular reader.
Yeah. So he's if you ever need a good read, Bill McRaven, he's got some pretty good books. But the military has a bunch of ups and downs for everyone, and it's had more ups and downs for me, and I'm happy for what I do and the perspective that it's given me, because if I didn't have the perspective on life now, if I didn't have it then, I feel like I would just be another person that lives in the bubble that's the United States, and I'm not opening my mind to what's really happening around the world and seeing, countries doing this and countries doing that and countries denying people of this and that and all, the hundreds and thousands of innocent people that die that never make the news, so the news only puts out there what they want you to know. So it's
Isn't that sad? Isn't that sad?
Well, a lot of people don't know that,
Well, yeah, they don't know that they're just being told what they feel like being, what they want them to be told.
I have seen so many things that no one will know.
Most people will never understand that the entire time that
they will never
alive.
know. They're never going to understand. All they know is what they see on TV and how we're doing this and we're doing that, and it's just, it is what it is. I'm not going to call them wrong for it,
It's scary.
It is scary. It definitely is, and that's why
it's like when you start thinking in that terms, what do you think that we've been told, that just to be told and not actually told the full picture?
Case in point.
Yeah.
So, but it's It's been a good run, man. I've been in 10 years. I plan on doing another 10 more. We'll see until they kick me out. But it's
I was going to say, what is the progression now? Is just going to keep doing?
I'm still going, man. My reserve unit supports the command in Naples, Italy. So I'm grateful I get to go to Italy once a year, have some bruschetta, have a little bit of wine. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely want to get out and deploy again. Maybe in another couple years. Try to get that under the belt.
Where do you want to go?
Well, I want to.
It depends on where they need you.
Well, yeah. So there's a couple places right now, but I want to get back to doing what I did before. The one that I can't, really shake and talk about much. The other ones aren't really as interesting. That one's kind of better for networking and career, and just like I said, I had a ton of fun. Out there, I was shooting a lot. I got to the one thing I will say, because I think I was able to cross the equator. I got my shell back, so we got to. I don't know. The shell back is a big thing with the Navy. So that was super cool.
Is that something I should ask you off camera?
Well, the shellback is a Navy tradition where it's like this, like, I can't talk about what it totally is, but it's like a rite of passage for crossing the equator.
Okay.
And then like there's like certain events that happen. I don't want to call it hazing, but it's like it's a lot of challenges and stuff that happens, and it's pretty funny. It's a lot of fun.
So
but
you're on the other side of it now.
Yeah,
you've come out the other side.
Oh, it's great though. But like I
new man.
Yeah. But like I have my plaque. I want to get like my tattoo. Like I want to get tattooed like the coordinates of where I crossed. It's like a Navy rite of passage thing. Like you can't. I want to say it's like you can't really say you're not in the Navy until you get your shell back. But like a lot of people like kind of hold that like, oh, it's like, because I have friends that have never been on ships, and it's like, yeah, you got to get out there. You got to earn your way. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of.
They don't just throw you on a ship right after.
No. Well, I did. I did 4 years on land in the Navy before I got out, and a lot of people do. It also depends on your job as well. But like my job doing pulling security and stuff like that. Like we are a majority land-based job. We're protecting bases. We're standing the gates and this and that and the whole nine. Not saying it's the most exciting thing, but that's what the Navy asks out of us. But yeah, I mean, I have a ton of friends, myself included, up until 2018. Like I never saw a ship until later on in my life, So, but it's good on perspective and mindset, 100%.
How long do we get to keep you here for right now?
What do you mean?
In New York, you've been here for a little.
Oh yeah. Like I said, I drill here. I'm doing all right here. I'm actually on orders in the city right now with with the state naval militia doing with the migrants, and it's helped me to be a better leader. So and I will say that it's helped me be a better leader because I'm doing a lot of different tasks and stuff like that. So I can't really complain about that, especially because I have good military orders in this state. I get to come home every day. It's not a combat zone. I'm working an 8-hour shift and I'm coming home. So it's so.
Have you been hitting OG?
What?
Have you been hitting OG?
No, I've been out of OG for a bit. I always tell Evan, I'm the king of the injured reserve. Yeah. So I left in December because I was away with the Navy for a little bit, and when I was in Italy, I threw my back out. And I was like, all right, let me try to get better. And then I did get better. And I was like, you know what? I just kind of want to like preserve a little bit more. Like I'm gonna go back. I'm definitely gonna, I'm gonna go back. Just right now, I'm trying to build up some more strength and avoid, I've had little nicks in here, my knee, my calf, this, that, the whole nine. And I just want to focus more on my mobility and my recovering. And then when I'm healthy enough to go back, because like I said, OGs, it's an hour of just pedal to the metal, and
it's nice. It's nice to go in, get your shit done, and just be done.
So it's been great. I love OG. It's a good place. Just right now, I need to kind of focus on the recovery aspect of things.
Yeah, I have to.
I'm the king of the injured reserve. I said that since day one. So
yeah, dude, I've always had herniated discs since I was like 18 years old.
Yeah.
I was in a bad car accident, and I herniated L5 S1.
Oof.
And it sucked for a long time. Mm-hmm. I couldn't even put my shoes on without being in pretty excruciating pain. But
yeah.
The guy that I worked with, the doctor, after I did my first bodybuilding prep with the bullshit guy, he had told me deadlift, and I looked at him like he was fucking nuts. I said, deadlift for my back pain?
Yep.
He said, yeah, you need to build up strength down there and this and that. And he's told me to do sumo deadlifting because it'll build up more glute and more posterior.
Yep.
I said, okay, cool. Did it. Nope. Like, I mean, if I threw my back out, which happens every now and then, because it just happens even when you're young.
We're at that age.
When I was young, I was like, I was early and late mid-20s.
Oh, okay,
I'd still have like a throw my back out the wrong way, or I yanked a deadlift instead of just smoothly pulling it.
Yeah.
And it got so much better. One day at OG last year, I forget when, it must have been during the summer, Tyler and I were working out together, and it was one where we were doing deadlift to like clean press. And for some reason, dude, I just moved the wrong way.
Boom.
It wasn't even heavy. It wasn't even my lower back. I must have herniated a disc in the middle of my back. Ever since, it's still every so often, like certain movements.
Oh, yeah.
If my elbows are fully pinched back like that, I feel it. Super early in the morning, I feel it. And it goes away. It doesn't hurt when I roll, doesn't hurt anything, but you just know it's there.
Yep.
So ever since then, I'm just like, fuck, man. I really just wanted to keep the herniations to like those.
I go to a chiropractor once a week.
I got Derlin out in Smithtown. He works on Triple H.
There you go. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he works on Triple H a couple times a week.
To play the game.
Yeah, bro. For years now, he's been working with him, and he's been on the podcast too, Derlin. He's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But I got to get better with the recovery. You've inspired me again to download the Pliability app.
Yeah.
Pliability.
I got to download that.
Send the check.
Yeah, I got to download that. But I feel like at this age, especially guys like us that push it, man, I feel like at this age, it's about preserving yourself. We're
Rolling
not
6 days a week on top of OG, at least 3 to 4.
You got to preserve yourself. And like, especially if you're working out hard and you feel something click when you're going heavy, like I might need to take it down a little bit today. Exactly. Yeah.
Dude, it's very difficult for me sometimes when we're doing shoulder presses at OG. And I'm in a much different stage of training in my life. Not that I'm weak or anything like that. I'm actually just as strong, if not stronger. But I can't shoulder press the 150s anymore.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Because I have shoulder injuries that I obviously haven't taken care of. So like I'll go to press the 80s, 90s, and dude, I get the craziest pinches inside my shoulder. Doesn't hurt when I do anything else. When I roll, when I frame, no problems.
Yep.
But the second I do 90 pounds and up on the shoulder, just sitting, vertically and pressing, pain. So it's like I have to be cognizant of these things.
But guess what?
Tell me.
You still got up and you shoulder pressed.
I shoulder pressed,
and millions of people wake up every day and they don't even touch 20 pounds.
I shoulder pressed, man.
That's what every day I go to the gym, no matter whether I go heavy, I go light, I run fast, I run slow, I'll do a mile. I might run a mile in 7 and change. I might run a mile in 9 and change. I might run a mile in 10 and change. Depends on how my body's reacting that day.
Yeah.
But guess what? I still did a mile.
I'm excited.
How many other people didn't do a mile?
I'm excited for it to get warm again.
It was warm. I love running outside.
We got cock teased, bro. It was warm for a couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden the ass crack of winter just came back and just said, "Hey, I'm still here."
Well, you know what? This might be the military in me. I love cold running.
Now get out.
This
fucking guy out of my office.
I haven't done it much this year, and that's kind of on my fault because I've just been, I guess, spoiled to running inside. But I want to say maybe like a month and a half ago, I woke up and I put all this stuff on, and my girlfriend was like, "Where are you going?" And I was like, "I'm going to run." And it was like 35 degrees out, and I was at that time, and I do want to bring this back. This is completely my fault, but I was doing a 5K a week. So one day I would wake up, and it was like I guess I'm psychotic enough to call it an active rest day. My active rest day was doing a 5K. And
so I can agree with that. Your nut job, first off.
Yeah.
Second off, though, but how was the run? Was it a very intense run? Was it something that you were pounding through, or was it something that you were just doing and it didn't matter how much time it took you were just getting it done?
It depended on the day. Okay. Because
I can agree with you when you say it's an active recovery day if you were going light and just cozying about and just you were just getting the miles on the shoes.
Some days I would go at like a jogging pace. I had like the Under Armour running app, and I would like see my pace and how I'm doing. Some days were 10 something each, whatever. But then like if I felt good, then I would try to, and as you know, with a lot of running people, you try to go for negative splits. So I might start at a jog, and then my second mile will be faster, and then my third mile will be faster. Other days I might start fast, and then I'll just gradually get slower. I don't know. I would kind of try there was no really method to my madness. For me, it was like, I just want to get a 5K done. And
a 5K is what, like 3.5, 3?
3.1.
Okay.
Yeah, 3.1. I do, especially when it's nice. I mean, now it's been different with my work schedule, but like last year I was doing like a ton of charity 5Ks, so they do the Lieutenant Mike Murphy 5K in the summer. I do that every year. That's the one 5K I try to hammer in. I did like the Hop Hog Fire Department 5K. I did like a cancer 5K. Like I'm all about just giving to charity and using fitness as like a charity tool, donating, doing what I can. And everyone's different, and I get that. But like I just enjoyed showing up, putting in miles to test myself, but also donating to a good charity. And, you know, I even did one, I think I did one for like teachers once, for like an education foundation, you know, for scholarships for the underprivileged kids. So like donating for that, donating for this, you know, like if it's for a good cause, I'm probably in more than anything.
Yeah.
So when the weather gets nice, I'll thrive on running and stuff like this, but there is nothing, I guess for me, because I'm psycho, more peaceful than like 35 degrees outside with a beanie and a long sleeve on and just going.
Oh.
You know, don't get me wrong, I'll be freezing, but then like once I warm up, like, you know, like and I can get my stride going.
Yeah.
Now I won't run as fast because the cold air, cold air, you know, but that's the good
Your
training.
lungs.
Yeah. So like I can't, like if I'm pushing like, you know, 8-minute miles, I won't be able to do that in freezing cold. I can do, you know, I'll try to keep it at 9 something or else I'll gas out and I'll be like heaving, you know. But
I like running super hot.
Yeah.
With the super hot weather.
Oh yeah.
Some people won't
Tarps
run it
off.
super hot.
Tarps off. You go to Jones Beach shirtless with just a pair of shorts on and you just go.
Dude, I love it. I go from here, I go from my apartment all the way up to the top of Huntington, all the way down the harbor.
Yeah.
Next to all the boats in the summertime, and you're on the harbor road, everyone's at the beach and shit like that, and you're just fucking going, and you just got music on, and you're just chilling.
I just try, when I do run, I try to avoid like heavily, like big streets with a lot of cars, you know, because like, you don't want to constantly, you want to stop, look at both crosswalks and keep going, you know. So like when I do run, like I know my area enough. When I do run, I try to stay in like the back streets, and it's like it may not be like a good view, but I at least don't have to break my stride and wait for like a red light, green light, this, that, the whole nine, you know, because that's what pisses me off more than anything is when I lose my stride and like you know, I'm like, oh, now I gotta pause it. Then I have to go on my phone, pause it, and then hit start. But then like I'm taking rest, and I try not to account rest into it unless I'm trying to be like, all right, I'm gonna run a mile, wait a minute, and then run another mile, this and that, the whole nine. So it's just, there's no method to my madness, you know. It just depends on the day. I don't wake up and say, oh, I'm gonna do sub 8 or I'm gonna do sub 9. I just
do your damn thing.
Hey, I woke up and I ran 3 miles, and that's what matters to me.
That's it, bro.
You know,
That's it.
I could do it in 30 minutes. I could do it in 60 minutes. I still woke up and did it.
I may have to hit jits again tonight. No,
Do it.
Get,
you know,
get me jazzed up, man.
Yeah, listen. Movement is a blessing, man. There's people that are missing arms. There are people that are missing legs. There are people that don't believe in fitness, and moving your body is a gift. Don't matter if it's a 6-minute mile or 30-minute mile. You still got up and did it.
Facts.
And like I said, those Navy SEALs and those dudes, they wake up and they say that a 20-minute walk is the most important part of your day.
Yeah.
And these are dudes who have done bad things.
Truthfully,
you know?
that's why I'm so blessed with Kenji, because he forces me to go outside and walk him because I don't have a yard.
Yeah.
So we are forced to like walk around. And don't get me wrong, sometimes I cheap out on the walk.
Oh yeah.
It's too fucking cold, and I go, bro, I know you're built for this weather. I am not.
Yeah.
Even if I'm bundled up and just the wind's hitting you.
Of course.
We're going back to the house. But once it starts getting nicer, which it was for a couple weeks, I mean, I walk all the way up to Prime with him. We do a nice 2.5, 3 mile just walk, and he's gassed by the end of it. He's really not built for that.
Of course.
I tried running with him a few times.
Yeah, he's not having it.
He's like, I'm not a Malinois, bro. What the fuck?
Yeah,
my bones are a little bigger and heavier than this.
He's not having it.
But it's nice because we get to like walk around, see things, you get the fresh air, this and that. And then, you know, obviously you've heard my spiel on the 2-phone system now and this and that. And I'm trying to just
one for pain, one for pleasure.
Exactly. This is just for business and normal day, and then I turn this off at night, and then I'm just on the other one full time. But now my close friends that have the number and my family, they're starting to just hit me up on the personal line, which my mom at first was just like, I don't know which one to hit you up on. And now she just hits me up on both. And if I don't answer on one, she calls me on the other. So now she's got 2 means.
Nikki.
Nikki, what the fuck? So everything's good, dude.
Listen, it's, you know, and I'll say one more thing, and this is going to be kind of upsetting, but it's just kind of something I want to get out into the world because, so I lost my mom last year, and it was an unfortunate battle with complications of a stroke. And while I was sad and upset, what put my life into perspective was that there was a woman who was in the room next to my mom, and she was coming down from cancer. She went terminal, had 6 months to live. She had a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. And while I was upset because I think I'm decently young and I didn't deserve to lose my mom, knowing that I had 30 years with my mom to make memories and enjoy the time that I did have, this 1-year-old is not going to remember his mother. This 4-year-old, if he's lucky, he's going to remember her.
Yeah.
And, you know, when she passed, everyone felt bad. You know, I'm human. I'm allowed to be sad and everything. But the one thing that I emphasize more than anything, and especially on this on this podcast was life in perspective. You know, like you're allowed to be sad and you're allowed to have feelings, but there's always someone out there that has it worse than you, you know? And another quote that I've always lived my life by is that the world does not feel sorry for me, therefore I will not feel sorry for myself. Whenever I was training hard and I got injured and I had to sit out, or if I was doing like a fitness test and I didn't get the numbers that I wanted, you know, and that kind of really hammered home when I lost my mother, because I thought about everything going on in the Middle East and how many mothers and kids, you know, are losing their lives every day out there. How many kids are losing their parents to cancer and all these other unfortunate things at such a young age. So, you know, I had 30 years with her, and a lot of people can't say that they have 30 years with their parents. And, you know, I just, you know, I hope that, you know, perspective and just all of that I talked about before is that life is not just a little bubble. There is so much more to life and everything that's going on around you. And people kind of need to be aware of that, you know, like after I lost my mom, I was back at work like a week later. You know, was I upset? Of course I was, but guess what? I got stuff to do, you know, like the world does not feel sorry for me losing my mom. Therefore, I will not feel sorry for myself, you know? So when you're down, like Rocky said, it's just about picking yourself up and going back to it, you know?
Getting right back to it.
You know, and getting back to it. You know, you can't sit there and wait for the world to come pick you up. Only you are responsible for picking yourself up. You know what I'm saying? Mm. So just, it's all about wide perspective, man. There's always people that are going to have it better than you. It's healthy to strive for a better life. It is not healthy to feel bad for yourself of the people that have it worse than you, you know, in everything. And it's just everything. So
when Kenji started having seizures and he formed epilepsy, it was a very devastating thing to me because I painted the perfect picture of a dog in my head of like how amazing he is and how amazing he's going to be and how I won't have to deal with health problems until later in life for him. And it was very difficult for me in the beginning, especially because I painted this perfect picture of him on social and in life and all these things. And then on the side, we're dealing with seizures and, you know, you're sitting there crushed every time that one happens. And I don't remember exactly who had said it to me, but somebody had said, he doesn't even know, he doesn't feel bad for himself. He has no idea that it's happening. He just knows that he loves you and you're his guy and this and that. And I've had to battle with the thought process of, did I cause this? Was it something maybe he hit his head or a pill that the tick and flea that I gave him because they're known to cause neurological issues. And I battled with myself for a long time thinking that this was my fault in some capacity. And it was a very hard battle. And until I started realizing that, number one, there's a couple of things. Number one, that whether he lives 2 years, a year, 6 months, 10 years, 15 years, you got to just keep living and having fun with him.
Yep.
Unfortunately, when shit happens, you just got to deal with it and then get right back to normal life.
Exactly.
And then on top of it, one of the other puppies from the litter, a couple weeks ago, I got a message from the breeder. They just started having seizures. So it runs in his line.
Exactly.
So as I've come to terms mentally with it, it seems like it's spearheaded in like a closure type of a way of like, you didn't cause this. It's just in his line.
Yeah.
And then it brings you back to the perspective of just keep doing what you're doing with him.
Yep.
You know, just keep living, keep having fun, keep doing things. It doesn't mean that he's not perfect because he is. He's perfect in his own way. We all got to deal with shit. There's other dogs that have seizures and they die a week later. So
exactly.
The fact that he's 4 and he's been having them since he was 2 on and off, that's 2 extra years that other people didn't get with their dogs.
See, and
it's tough to it's tough to agree with it, you know, try to like bargain with yourself and say, yo, it's cool, bro. Like you have to just realize that it's not
exactly
you're painting the picture. It's actually a brighter picture. Just focus on that.
You know, what you have is what's in front of you.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of, it goes what we talk about like injuries, right? Like I may not feel like I'm capable of doing, you know, something pedal to the metal at full speed without hurting myself, but like I still, you know, would wake up or go to the gym and modify my workouts to where I don't hurt myself. And I go to the gym 6 days a week now. I go to an export Massapequa, but like I do a certain program where I know is healthy for me and it's not going to hurt me. You know, like I take out heavy hinging movements and I do a lot of machines because machines have a lot of back support and this and that, you know, so that's what I'm focusing on right now. And then when I'm healthier, I'll get back to, you know, going, you know, full speed again. again. But it's like getting injured. What am I going to sit at home and do nothing? The world doesn't feel sorry for me. Oh, I have a shoulder injury or I have a leg injury. Guess what? There's people missing legs. There's people missing arms. You know, life is perspective. You know,
I don't speak to my dad anymore. I cut that relationship off.
Sorry to hear.
It's okay. It happens, man. But he had MS or has MS, and he just progressively got worse as I was getting older. So, you go from seeing your dad struggle to walk in general to using his hands in the car to like move his legs to the gas pedal and to the brake pedal to then years later being fully in a wheelchair. A lot of the stuff that I do, especially the double training sessions and this and that, even though I'm sore and I'm beaten down and I'm tired and I know I need a rest day, sometimes even though, like I said, we don't speak, I still think of that situation where he can't work out at all. He does PT, but the PT is trying to stand without the support of his chair or crutches or anything like that for more than 20 seconds. So that's his version of working out. And I never want to take that for granted. So if I can train and I can do my thing and I can get out there and roll and give other people a tough challenge and work out and do all these different things.
Movement is a gift.
Yeah, then it's a win.
Yes, sir. So that's pretty much it.
Zachy Gunz, you're fucking awesome, bro.
Hey, listen, man, I'm happy to be here. I want to thank you for having me. I know this was a long time coming since a couple months back, so I'm happy to be here.
Well worth the wait.
I'm not an influencer or Instagram famous by any means. I do have the drum page. If there's any musicians out there that want to talk drums or just talk life, I'm out here. So
I want you to give everybody the plugs. But however, I just want to say that I never, no matter how large or whatever it might be, no matter how big or small this podcast winds up being in the long run, I'd never need or want famous people. I don't fucking care.
Exactly.
I don't care how many followers, because I guarantee you that out of most of the influencers that I know, you have more substance to you than any of that. No, dead serious. No, dead serious.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
More substance to you than a lot of these other people. And that's really what this is about. It's about substance.
Yeah.
It's about people that actually have gone through shit, have experienced things, and have taken life by the bull by the horns. I've taken life by the horns. And that's really something that the common person and the person that has the trials on a daily basis.
Oh yeah,
that's what we go through.
I appreciate you, man. Yeah, no,
I don't need some chick with a BBL and 1 million followers coming through and talking about how the surgery changed her life and she got 1 million followers. I don't give a fuck about that person. Enjoy your 1 million followers.
Yeah,
I want the real people.
It's every person in life has different perspective, and I guess I'm just here to talk about mine. So
been through some shit, man.
Yeah,
and the Navy helped you see the world.
Yeah, 20 countries, hopefully 20 more. We'll see.
I love that, dude.
So appreciate you, man.
Give the drum plug if anybody wants to connect with you.
Well, so the one thing I didn't really talk about is, the expensive hobbies of the world besides shooting. I'm definitely a decent shooter. If there's anyone that wants to talk about getting into firearms training, I'm not an expert by any means, but again, I think I know a little bit more than the common man, so I'll talk about that. I'm a musician as well. I'm trying to get a couple gigs with my I have a cover band in the works right now. We're trying to just get out there and play Green Day and Blink-182 and all the songs that people love. I just want to, I grew up playing drums. It was a great time. I'm trying to get back to that now. So, my Instagram will probably be posted here, Zachy Gunz, if you ever want to talk. Zachy Drums is the drum page. I post some covers on there with just my GoPro. I'm working on some recording equipment, but for now, I'm just a guy that's happy with a camera that just wants to play and have fun. But I'm always good for conversation and talking about life outside the bubble, which is the main topic of what this was life outside the bubble. So if anyone wants to talk about anything like that or is interested, or if people are thinking about, the younger guys out there, if you're thinking about joining the military, I think I can give you some perspective on that as well, about the pros and cons of everything that happens. But thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, dude.
So,
this is episode 92.
92
with Zachy Gunz / Zachy Drums. That's my fucking man. I gotta tell you, you'd probably, I'll tell you this after we cut off. This is probably something that you'd like for the recording.
Okay.
And stuff like that.
Okay.
But on that note, I appreciate everybody for listening to the episode. Please share, comment, like, subscribe, do all the, that's the call to action. Do all of the things that help this channel grow so I can continue sitting down with amazing humans like Zach. And definitely reach out if you're interested in the military, Second Amendment stuff, whatever you might feel. He's a down-to-earth human being, as you can tell for, 2 hours of us sitting down to each other. That's, you got the third person sitting down, listening in our conversation. That's really what it was about. So
appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you, and I appreciate all y'all for fucking with us. But for now, peace.
Peace.